السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يوتيوب كيف الحال يا يوتيوب؟ You are in for a treat today. You are in for big treat يوتيوب. أصحاب اليوتيوب, very big treat. This thing always catches me out, Rev. Good, I got it. What are you guys saying? Yes, I'm fashionably late, I know, just a couple minutes. Anyways, I'm here now. Bismillah. And I have a treat for you guys in store. But before we get into it, let me just acknowledge the chat, particularly those of you who are here on time, mashallah. You know what? I'm even going to pull up some of you guys' I'm going to pull up some of your comments. Let me see now. Chad Sultan, obviously. Chad Sultan in the chat daily. One of the OGs here in the channel, mashallah. Renato, I recognize that name. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Akhi, what are you saying, bro? How you doing, mashallah? This is in my way, bruv. Let's move that. Yes. Who else we got here? Muhsin, what are you saying, bro? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And of course, we have our weekly dose of haters in the chat, mashallah. Love me, hate me, you're still here to listen to me. So behave yourself. Those of you who have something ill to say about me, I will give you your opportunity to come onto the live. Don't you worry. You will have your opportunity to come on if you so wish, if you really want to, yani. If you have a death wish, if this is something you really, really want to do, you really want to come on and chat to me, bruv. Come here and eat your internet. What? Wrong one. Your internet slaps. Come and eat your internet slaps. I have them ready and waiting for you. To my detractors, I will also be bringing on two sisters who are actually on the podcast, on the Bitter Truth podcast, Sister Amira and Sister Fahima. They will both be coming on, inshallah ta'ala, after I have reacted to the pod. Now, I haven't actually been through the pod yet. I haven't looked at it. I was going to watch it, but I was like, you know what? Let the viewers catch my reaction to the podcast live. Because although I obviously did the podcast, I haven't actually gone back and seen it. And it's a different experience watching it back again. And there were a few things I wanted to add on hindsight when I actually thought about the conversations afterwards. And I always do this whenever I go on podcasts or I have conversations. I analyze, what did I miss? What could I have said better? And so on. So I will have that opportunity to do that today, inshallah ta'ala. Shout out to the Somali pirate though. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, my man. I appreciate the early super chat, getting in there nice and early. Assalamu alaikum all the way from the US. Shout out to you, my guy. I appreciate it. Right. Mahdi, why don't you do a series on the art of seduction like you did with 48 Laws of Power? Well, I mean, as you guys, those of the OGs, that is, those of you who've been here for a minute, I had to stop the 48 Laws of Power series halfway through, as per the advice of my YouTube advisor. Shout out to brother Yusuf. Shout out to you, bro. He said to me, basically, it was hurting my channel because it was performing so poorly. So despite the fact that a lot of you did appreciate that, in the interests of the channel and the growth of the channel and dealing with more important topics, I have to ditch it. But yeah, that's an interesting book as well, though. But you know what? Yeah, you have to be careful with some of these books because it's like me trying to teach you how to drive a Formula One car when you don't even know how to drive a Vauxhall Corsa, bruv. It's like trying to drive or ride, I should say, a Yamaha R6 when you don't know how to ride a bicycle. So they're a bit techie like that. Do you understand? Mashi Ali, shout out to you, my guy. Jazakallah khair for the early super chat, £5, £4.99 super chat. Mahdi, you gangster, you want me to hire a maid? I'll hire a maid and marry her. Furthermore, rude boy, not only will I hire the maid, I will fire the wife and marry the maid. Shout out to you, bro. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Don't worry. I haven't been through it, like I said. So I don't even remember half the stuff we spoke about. So it's going to be fresh, inshallah. If you're just coming in, my name is Mahdi Tijani. And I help Muslim men understand why their wives don't like them, bruv. Yeah. Why your wife doesn't like you. Or indeed why women don't like you in general. Yeah, that's basically the crux of the matter. and how to improve that dynamic and change that dynamic for the better. Because the truth of the matter is, life is better with a good Muslim wife in your life. How about that? Life is better when you have a good Muslim wife in your life. You know, the only thing that's better than having a good Muslim wife in your life, do you know what it is? The only thing that is better than having a good Muslim wife in your life is having two good Muslim wives in your life. And the only thing that's better than that is what? Yes, you guessed it. Three. And the only thing that is better than three is four, Habibi. And after four, there is only Jannah. Sorry, you cannot do five. This one is very haram. Behave yourself. This one is haram, very haram. Astaghfirullah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So, some housework before we crack on. Like the video on your way in. All right, I'm going to get more on that in a bit. We are on 99 point. The channel has 99,200 subscribers. We may well hit 100K tonight, depending on what type of traction this stream gets. We may well hit 100K tonight. If you haven't already subbed the channel and you are interested in this type of content and you would like to see more, I would implore you to consider subscribing. Or don't, bruv. I don't care. Okay? I have a team that takes care of all of that. So it really doesn't bother me at this point. But I would appreciate it. Barakallahu feekum. Human. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Okay, the first thing I would like to do on a more serious note is I would like to thank our brother Ali. I don't actually know what his surname is, so Ali Dawa. I would like to thank him firstly and foremostly for taking the risk of bringing someone like me on because of the inevitable backlash that people often get by bringing someone like myself on. And indeed, if you guys have seen all the TikTok videos that have been made, backlash is exactly what myself, the sisters who are on the podcast got, and I haven't spoken to Ali, but no doubt he has himself as well. And I did discuss this with him beforehand, and he was very aware of it. So shout out to him for that. The second thing as well, and this is something I cannot emphasize enough here. If you are not in the podcast game, you cannot appreciate how much work behind the scenes there is to get one single podcast out. It's a project. Ali must have had 4 or 5 people working, I don't know if it's with him or for him on that day. 3 different cameras. Now remember, each camera is around £2,500. All right. And oftentimes, by the way, the lenses are more expensive than the camera itself. Oftentimes this can be the case, but regardless, sometimes the lens is as much as the camera, sometimes it's a bit more. Around £2,500 per camera, and then there's 3 cameras. Okay. Then you've got all the sound equipment. Then you've got the mics. The mics that he used, they're like £700 to £900 a pop, if I'm not mistaken. Brand new, £700 to £900 a pop. Then you have the cost of renting the room that he has, unless he owns it. I don't know if he owns it. Well, then that's even more. But at a minimum, the cost of renting that room. Then you have the organizing. Organizing is long. People cancel. On that day, I was meant to be with what's his name? Smile to Jannah and another brother. I forget his name. Hello Aziz, that brother. He was meant to come as well. He didn't come. So people cancel. Plans change. It's very, very techy. It's very complicated. There's a lot of manpower that goes in. Even in between recordings, there's like this memory card's getting full. This one needs changing. Have we lost sound? Bro, it's long. So big shout out to brother Ali. Not to mention the editing. Oh my days. Editing these videos is even longer. You know why? Because you've got to watch 3 videos at the same time because you have 3 different cameras. And then whoever's talking, you need to get to the clip of that point where that person starts talking, then switch the camera and then switch the camera. It's long, bruv, and it's expensive. It's long and it's expensive. So I hope that brother Ali is I know he had some advert on the pod, but I reckon he can do more than that, to be honest. That's the only thing that I would suggest to him, is to have more ads. More ads. I'm not joking. More sponsored ads. It might annoy you guys, but there are clever ways to weave your ads into a video without irritating the audience, and it makes the viewing experience possible, because AdSense ain't cutting it, bruv. Yeah, ad revenue is not cutting it. It's not enough. So, as per the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he has not thanked Allah, who has not thanked the people. I wanted to just, give you guys a bit of an insight as to the type of organization, the type of financial investment, and the type of responsibility that is involved in setting something like that up. It's not easy, bruv. It's long and it's expensive. So shout out to Brother Ali for handling that. Jazakallah khair. And it appears that by and large, the podcast has had net positive comments as opposed to net negative. The negative comments always get more traction than the positive, but the net positive seems to have outweighed the negative. So that's that. Right. Okay. So let's get into what you guys are here for in the first place before I bring on Sister Amira and Sister Fahima, inshallah ta'ala. Let's do this. Let's pull this up. Bismillah. Hold on a second. Where did I put that? Where did I put that window, Rev? Bear with me a second, guys. Now it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? There we go.
Should men get involved in household chores? I'm going to start off with Brother Mahdi, inshallah. So,
isn't it also their duty to listen to us as men, to be obedient to us? So do the damn dishes, man. Cook my dinner, man. What's this long thing? Do you know what I mean?
She is taking value away from me.
what if she's not?
She is. I'll
What if she's
explain to you
not?
how.
Firstly, as a man, it is your duty Islamically to provide.
It's like a woman coming to me and saying, like you said earlier, like, you got to protect me if a man calls me a name on the street.
Exactly.
I'll be offended without even saying that to me. If I'm the sole breadwinner.
Shout out to Brother Romero, by the way. It was an absolute laugh with Brother Romero, and yeah, man, we had sick chemistry. Shout out to him.
No?
Yes.
Okay? And my wife's at home. Brother, I ain't lifting a finger. I don't even want to know where the salt is.
For example, if a woman has now had a baby, yeah, and you are working 40 hours a week, would you not help your wife around the house? She's like, can you please help me with the
Yes, I will
dishes?
say to her, of course, Habibti, I'll do the dishes. By the way, you got the rent this week.
You're taking the mick.
Okay. Furthermore, if my 40 hours that I work per week covers everything in the household, okay, and you want to work, not only will I not be involved in the household chores, I will expect you to contribute towards the household bills. Homeless and
your
foodless.
duty.
I nearly did it again. I caught the mic just in time. Let me just elaborate on that point real quick with regards to the household chores, yeah? And what I said, that she needs to contribute to the household bills if she's going to work, if you're in this situation. Let me just elaborate on that, because the immediate backlash I got was, oh, this is haram. You cannot take her money. You are expected to provide. You cannot forcibly make her pay for the household bills, and so on and so forth. And you would be absolutely right. And I would completely agree with you. You cannot forcibly make her pay for the household bills and all of those things that Allah has legislated you to pay. And therefore, by extension, if she does not happily, let me just do this, because I know that Ben's going to clip this. So let me just look into the camera. If she does not happily, willingly agree to the 79% Tijani tax that I will impose upon her, no problem. قعد بالبيت وروح الطيبة. Sit at home and go make some food. You get me, bro? You're out here talking absolute wiffle waffle. You want to work? Okay, sweetheart, you can work. No problem. I'm going to be taxing you. 79% of all your earnings I will be taking. Not by force. You will agree to this. Happily, with a smile on your face. Willingly. Happily. And if you don't want to agree to that, no problem at all. Sit your ass at home. You understand me, bruv? Moving mad.
Is placed upon you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
My duty, no, because in Islam, as a woman, we have rights. And if you want your house clean, hire me a maid.
I just can't see myself debating the woman that I've met and I've now married her, and we're sitting down in the house after I've worked my ass off, and I'm debating this woman saying, "Can you clean, please?"
Like, this is why I invite. Look, let me be honest. This is the reason I was double-minded about inviting you. Let me be very honest here. We're men to men, okay?
Yeah. I agree with Sister Amira.
Yeah.
She said that you should marry them, that you should hire a maid. If you want me to clean, I agree. I'll hire the maid and I'll marry the maid.
Boom.
It's juicy, bruv. It's juicy. Man said 79%. Man said 79% tax is too low. Trickster. Brother Mahdi, you ain't lying, but 79 is still too low. Pfft, wow. Okay. I thought that was, you man are moving mad. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
Don't miss this amazing opportunity from Nature's Blends to get your finest premium black seed oil and shilajit to get that energy levels back up. Check them out now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and dear friends. Welcome to another episode of The Bitter Truth. If you want to be among the panel, please get in contact by thebittertruthshow@gmail.com. If you want to ask us a question, you're going through something in your marriage, a marriage crisis, whatever it may be, or looking to get married, you want to ask a question, we can maybe touch up on it, give you some nasiyah to the limits that we have. Please use that email, inshallah. Today's topic is should men help in household chores? And we're going to see how that goes. And we might even add another topic in there, which is should it be 50-50? So when it comes to the contribution, be it the household chores or even providing. So the bitter buzzers, as you guys know, which is that if you disagree with something, a sister saying, or brother to brother or sister to sister, if you disagree, you just press the buzzer. The person who's speaking, just finish their sentence, and you have 1.5 minutes to say what you want to say. That's what the bitter buzzers are for. But make sure you press it because something bitter is coming out your mouth, inshallah. But obviously respectfully, not in that way, yeah? That's it. So let's open it up, inshallah, the discussion. Should men get involved in household chores? I'm going to start off with Brother Mahdi, inshallah. So you have 1.5 minutes. 1 second.
Just hearing you say should man, my arm just went.
Okay.
Couldn't help it, bro.
Even though it's coming from my brother, mashallah. Even if it was a question I was asking. So okay, you got 1.5 minutes. Go.
That's it. I said it, bro.
Is that it?
Yeah, same more time.
Okay, that was finished. Khalas. Yeah. 2 seconds. Alhamdulillah, good. So you are totally against it.
For me, the affair is simple. Look, we live in a time in the West where the average household requires 2 incomes. Okay. Although we would love for the man to be the sole breadwinner and for the woman to be at home and so on, the reality is, especially in this hyperinflationary environment that we live in here in the West, that most people need 2 incomes to run the house. So at a minimum, the guy's going to be working full-time, maybe a bit extra, and his wife's going to be working part-time or doing something, figuring something out. If she is contributing meaningfully towards the household expenditures, then it's not unreasonable for her to expect her husband to involve himself in some type of chores. If it was,
I don't think I would ever do this, but I've watched some of your videos. There's things that I disagreed with.
Before I add my commentary here, I'm just going to let Ali continue, okay? Because this is a very important point. This is very important. But I will get to it in a second. And this is where you're going to see a different side to Mahdi. The quote-unquote misogynistic side that you see on TikTok Reels and all the rest of it. You know what, yeah? I said to my guy, I said to Ben, the brother who handles my shorts. I said to him, bro, I'm not going to lie to you, yeah? You do an excellent job with my shorts. But I would hate me if I saw those videos, bruv. How are you going to do me like that? I would hate me. because the missing context is mad. Obviously, you know, that's what works. The algorithm, it is what it is.
There are things that I agree with a lot. That's one of the reasons I invited you to the show, because at the end of the day, I was double-minded, because I know there's a lot of like controversy around yourself. There's things that you've said. There's things that you've taken back as well, you know, which I admire. When you discuss about certain individuals, you're very careful to not backbite them. So there's certain characteristics that I've seen in you where I thought, you know what? Yes, there's a controversy. There's things I don't agree with you, but there were certain qualities which I admired, and I thought, you know, I want to understand you better. That's why I invited you here. Now, you said some stuff which I haven't heard. It's the first time I've heard, which I'm very like flabbergasted. Yeah, is that you've actually, and please forgive me, there might be in the video if you addressed it. I haven't seen it. Yeah, that you said that it depends. So you've given some context, because usually you're raw. No, the men, but now you're saying basically you've acknowledged that both parties have to work. So if I'm not mistaken, is Mahdi Tijani saying that the husband should get involved in household chores? And we're talking about washing the dishes, hoovering, putting up the clothes, the dry. Just to understand, yeah. So I'm going to finish my 1.5 minute early, but because this is the first time. Please correct me. Have you said this before? Is this the first time? Is this a new perspective?
Let me give you an example. Okay, if you have average Abdullah, he's working 40 hours a week. Yeah. Average Abdullah, he requires his wife, her name's Bushra, basic Bushra. She's also working 40 hours a week. Both of them are coming home after a 40-hour work week, tired. Just as tired as each other. He's doing whatever he's doing and she's doing whatever she is doing. Okay? He wants to come home and relax. Understandable. But guess what? She's also worked 40 hours as well. She wants to come home and relax. Now, if she, mashallah, wants to take that all on her own shoulders, so be it. But it's not unreasonable for her to expect him to pitch in if they have both done 2 40-hour work weeks. Are you with me?
Yeah, that's just refreshing. Do
you understand?
Have you always had this, or is it something that's...
It's just logical. If
Let me just elaborate on that further, yeah? Not only is it not unreasonable for her to expect you to pitch in, okay? If she's done a 40-hour work week with you and she's also contributing towards the bills. Not only is it not unreasonable for her to expect you to pitch in, we can take that one step further. It would be oppressive of you to not help her, especially if she needs it. If she wants to take it up on her own accord, so be it. But it would be oppressive of you to not help her after she has worked a 40-hour work week. You have worked a 40-hour work week. You're sharing the bills 50-50. And then you expect her to do 100% of the chores. Why? Because you're doing 50% of your job whilst she is doing 150% of her job. What's the 150%? The 100% is the stuff at home. The additional 50% is the stuff you couldn't do. You couldn't meet on your own. And by the way, I'm not throwing any shade, none at all. The way the Western world works is that big corporations have encouraged this narrative, promoted this femme-centric narrative of pushing women into work. As women flooded the workplace, the value of labor halved because supply and demand is basic economics. Because the value of labor halved, now a man who was once able to take care of the household on his own, wholly, completely, now, because the value of his labor has halved, he needs an additional income. And I'm talking about the average Abdullah. And when I speak, I like to speak on issues that concern the mass, the majority, not the minority. So it's not his fault. I'm not blaming him. It is what it is. As a result of that, many households require 2 incomes to get by. So, whilst he is contributing his 50%, unfortunately, it's not his fault. The value of labor has halved, but it's still 50%. It's a results-based business. It is what it is. His wife is contributing 150%. So it would be oppressive of you to not get involved in the cooking and the cleaning and the mopping and the whatever else if she needs you to, because she's working as well. This is not rocket science. This is logical. This is logic. See, I'm not so bad, am I? Not so bad after all, eh?
No, but before you've been quite raw. It's like, no,
it depends.
listen.
Yeah, you will get out of me. I am the prisoner to the like the ulama say. I'm not an alim, astaghfirullah, but I am the prisoner of the questioner. Whatever you ask me, I will answer accordingly. But I'm providing context here now. If I am the sole breadwinner,
Yes.
okay, and my wife's at home, brother, I ain't lifting a finger. I don't even want to know where the salt is. I'm not lifting one finger. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allah has blessed me with wives that don't require me to lift a finger. But if I am pitching in and she is pitching in as well, it's unreasonable for me to also expect her to do.
And you know what? Yeah, Sister Fahima is going to touch on it in a second, so I'm not going to spoil what she's about to say. And this is where we need to counterbalance what I've just said a couple minutes ago with understand. When a woman is in your frame, and you've heard this term over and over, and in your frame can loosely be defined as she wants to please you. Yeah, we can loosely define a woman being in your frame is a woman who enjoys pleasing you. She wants to please you. When a woman is in that state, in that condition, you doing things above and beyond is depriving her of the opportunity to please you. Do you understand? You donut. Yeah, you floor mopping donuts. Do you understand this? You are depriving her of the opportunity to please you. She wants to please you. She's in your frame. And you no, let me do it, Habibti. I want to scrub the wall. I want to wash the dishes. I want to. Do you know what you're doing? Understand the psychology here. The psychology here is, I need to prove myself to you. I feel I need to qualify myself to you. How will I qualify myself to you? How will I earn your favor and your pleasure, my love, my unicorn? By mopping the floor and cleaning the dishes and so on. And this is, of course, I'm referring to the gentleman who is in a situation where he can take care of the household things on his own. You are depriving her of the opportunity to please you. Ya ibn al-donut. You are ibn al-donut.
Now another part-time shift at home whilst I'm chilling.
Okay, so let me get this in, if I'm correct. So if your wife is working and so are you, and she says to you, Mahdi, can you wash the dishes?
Hold on. And contributing that salary towards the household. Now we have to make another distinction here. The distinction here is, okay, I'm working 40 hours, you're working 40 hours, but my 40 hours is paying for everything in the house, and your 40 hours is going on your Mac foundation. Then no, bro, I'm not lifting one finger. Do you understand? Furthermore, if my 40 hours that I work per week covers everything in the household, okay, and you want to work, not only will I not be involved in the household chores, I will expect you to contribute towards the household bills.
What, rewind again. What? Say it one more time.
Yeah, we're coming, bro.
No, I'm trying to understand. Say again.
If I'm working full time,
yep,
and I'm covering everything expense wise,
yep,
A to Z,
yep,
and my wife wants to work,
yes,
which she wouldn't, but whatever. Okay, let's just use this hypothetical example.
Okay,
and she's working.
Yeah.
Okay, Habib, do you want to work? No problem. Guess what? You're paying half the bills.
Why?
Good question.
Because I remember you done a video about my video where where I said that if, for example, if my wife is a multimillionaire, she is not paying for anything, and then you refer to, I understand where it's coming from. Like, I don't know if you used the word simp, but you said basically that you disagreed with it.
Okay, so let me provide context. If I'm working and it's enough for the house, now my wife is also going out to work, she is taking value away from me.
What if she's not?
She is. I'll explain to you how.
Go
for it.
So, because of the bit of buzzer, I had to stop my flow there because Sister Amira had the right to speak for a minute and a half after hitting that buzzer, but I will explain. Okay. How does a woman take value away from you when you are working full time and you're taking care of the home financially, from a fiscal perspective, from a money perspective, and she also works? How is she taking value away from you if she doesn't contribute towards the household daily runnings, bills? You guys should be able to figure it out. Well, if she goes to work, she's gonna come home tired, and not just that, while she's at work, she's not going to be able to cook and clean and so on. So you're probably going to come home, both of you at the same time, to a messy house with no food, and she may well even expect you to cook for half of the week because your money's our money, my money's my money, and I'm tired like you. But Habibti, I'm tired. Yes, but Habibi, I'm tired too. I was working. Okay, Habibti, I will cook today. Shut up, bruv. Be quiet. No, woman. First, you're gonna cook, and second of all, rinse due. Go and pay it. Oh, you don't like that? No problem. You cannot take the money from me by force. This is operations haram. Habibti, you are right. I agree. And therefore, I repeat once again what I said just a moment ago, which is, if you do not, my love, Ahla Warda, Noor Hayati, if you do not willingly and voluntarily agree to the 79% Tijani tax that I will be taxing you on your wages, then you can قعدي بالبيت وروحي الطيبي. You can sit your ass at home and go and cook some food. You have options, my dear. I would never forcibly remove or take any money from you. Never. Never would I take it from you by force. You must agree to this 79% Tijani tax. Put your opponents on the horns of a dilemma. They are gored wherever they turn.
Firstly, as a man, it is your duty Islamically to provide for the woman as an amana. You have taken her as a wife, so it is your responsibility, regardless of whether she works or not, to take care of her. You went to her father, you asked for her hand, and you have said, I'm going to look after your daughter. Before she came to you, she was working, right? And her dad was taking care of her bills and everything. And now you have taken that responsibility, and she's working, and you expect her to pay half of the bills?
She's got 50 seconds. No, she's got 50 seconds.
Then, for example, if a woman has now had a baby, yeah, and you are working 40 hours a week, would you not help your wife around the house, pick up things she cannot bend? You know, she just had a baby. It is adab.
So I can interrupt now because I'm not being withheld by the bitter buzzer. This is a different situation now. This is different context. But I'm not an oppressor. You should not be an oppressor. If your wife's just had a baby, as in the example that Sister Amira has given, and she's sick, she can't move, what am I going to tell her? Woman, get out. I don't care if you're bleeding to death or whatever. I don't care. I'm hungry. Don't clean the surfaces. And it should be a common sense, should be a rahmah, should be a mercy. Obviously, bruv. Man's going to pitch in, help out, you know, whatever. It's not a big deal. It's minor, light work. Or even get a maid. Might marry the thing as well. You never know, bruv. I mean. All right, let's continue.
And
20 seconds.
as a woman in Islam, from what I know, it isn't our duty. It's not by force. You don't marry us to be slaves. You marry us for a
10
company
seconds.
and to enjoy us.
So this is interesting. I think a lot of women have a fear that if they start cooking and cleaning and stuff like this, that they will be viewed as slaves or maids or something along those lines. So let me speak to that fear for a moment. But I don't identify as a slave or a maid or whatever. Let me speak to that fear for a moment. First of all, there's a saying of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anh, which is not a hadith or anything like this, but it's one of his sayings. And the saying translates to, marriage is slavery, so be careful in whom you give your daughters in slavery to. That's the first thing. But this is just a code. We can't take like any Islamic ruling or anything like this from this saying of Umar, but you know, it's something to consider seriously. That's the first thing. So just keep that on the back burner. Keep that in the back of your mind. The second thing, do you know how women often insult men? They use this insult. They call men wallets. You ever heard of this term? You're just a wallet, bruv. Referring to the fact that a man's primary or main role is to be a wallet, to provide money, and that's about it. So this is a derogatory term that a lot of women use to throw towards men. And to an extent, they are right. To an extent, to a degree, men are wallets. It's our job. And to an extent and to a degree, women are maids. You are servants in the house. If I'm a wallet, you're a maid, bruv. It is what it is. Now, maybe we can find different words and not use words that, you know, bring about or such a negative feeling. All right, fine. You want to play semantics. Words are important. I get it. Blah, blah, blah. Point still stands, bruv. To a degree, men are wallets. To a degree, women are maids.
As a woman, but it's not
5 seconds.
you do the chores and I make the money, and if you want me to
You can
help
interject.
with the chores, then you have to pay half
This
the
is a
bills.
two-pronged.
Oh,
This is-
I've got to respond to this quickly.
Okay.
I'm so
Go
sorry,
for it,
my
go
brother.
for it.
I've got to respond to this quickly, yeah? Isn't it also their duty to listen to us as men? To be obedient to us? So do the damn dishes, man. Cook my dinner, man. What's this long thing? Do you know what I mean? Listen,
My
if
guy.
I'm going to work, I'm waking up, yeah? I'm going to work, yeah? For 9, 8, 10 hours, how many hours a day that I'm working? I come home, yeah? And I'm providing, like Matthew said rightfully, there is context to this as well. If I'm providing everything, she don't need to lift a finger, yeah? Like, what you been doing the rest of your day for this time? What you been sitting in your hands watching the paint dry? Do you know what I mean? I'm sure we can come up with some sort of circumstance where, yeah, I would probably help out and I would be compassionate enough to help out. If you're giving birth to my babies, I'm not like, sorry, love, you haven't done the dishes. You know what I mean? I'm going to go do the dishes and help you out. I understand that. Do you know what I mean? But you're picking at exceptions, yeah, to try and disprove the rule, which it's just like, nah. And I know sisters, they love to bring up that hadith where the Prophet, peace be upon him, he helped with some of the chores. How many wives did the Prophet, peace upon him, have?
About 9.
Did you go to each of their house cleaning up their yards every single day? No.
But we don't expect that.
It's not finished. It's not finished.
Sorry.
You've got 15 seconds.
Okay, so it's like, this is unreasonable. You're nitpicking little hadiths and things like that to back your point. Maybe not you personally, let's not.
You know, brother Daniel Haqiqatu, the Muslim skeptic, has done an excellent written piece on his blog, on his website, with regards to this ahadith, with regards to the Prophet cleaning around the house, mending his clothes, and so on. And he's gone into detail and given it great context. It's an excellent rebuttal for those leftist Muslims who like to use this as a stick on men to cook and clean and all the rest of it. Check that out on his I believe his website is the Muslim skeptic.com. He's got a written piece on it.
Not personal shot, but this is what I just hear all the time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Let's rewind.
Okay.
Let's rewind, inshallah. So your initial point was it was a two-pronged question. The first point was with regards to the man's responsibility is to provide for the household, and then the second part was what if she's given birth. So we'll address both issues. You expect me to work. Let's make it different. My wife expects me to work, provide, and so on and so forth. Normal, adi, right? Okay. If a man is in a privileged position, which unfortunately is a privilege today, to be able to sustain a household and a family on one salary, that's a privilege. Yeah, because the reality is most people need 2 incomes. So you're in that privileged position. Excellent. I expect a privilege in return. The privilege I am offering you is to stay at home where you want to be in the first place. The privilege I expect back is a relaxed wife who hasn't been obeying her master in the workplace, taking orders from her master over there. No, she's at home and she has the food ready for me and the house is tidy and everything's cool. That's the value. It's an exchange of value. So if I am in this privileged position to be able to take care of a woman on her own, and she wants to work, in my case personally, it's not going to happen. But if a man allows this,
you know, and just to speak to that for a moment, Muhammad Hijab did a piece on this on one of his videos a while back, citing some study with regards to the detrimental impact, the negative impact working has on women's psyche, mental health. It's like depression, bruv. Women don't like to work. Big man thing, they don't enjoy it. She'll do it if she has to, if she's compelled to, and so on. But they don't have that same energy, that same enjoyment, that same enthusiasm to want to conquer and that love of stress, you know, especially men who are going places, men who are on a mission. We have the love of the, what is the word I'm looking for? Love of the process, being in the dirt, in the trenches. It's never about the destination. It's always about where we're going next. There's something about that us as men, we love. And men, as a result of that, have basically built the world. The world we live in today, the internet connection that you see me talking to you through today, the very platform you are watching me on right now, all of it was built by men, including this mic, including this hat, including these clothes, the whole lot of it, the majority of produce is produced by men. It goes back to hunter-gatherer. The pavement you walk on, the road you drive on, the toilet you flush, the sewage you don't pay attention to, the rubbish that is disposed of by the garbage removal man, the electricity that flows through the electrical cords. Name something, anything. Look outside your window right now. Just open your curtain and look outside your window. Have a look at the lamppost. Have a look at the house. Have a look at the pavement. Have a look at the road. Have a look at the corner shop. Name me one thing that was built by a woman. Billahi, one. Give me one thing that was built by a woman. Nothing. And this is not a slight to women. This is not an insult to women. It's just the way it goes. Women are better than men at other things. There are areas that women excel in that men don't. Areas that they don't like to be known to excel in because they find it demeaning oftentimes. Oh, what, am I just a mom? Oh, am I just? It's not just. It's one of the most important roles that you could ever play, if not the most important role that you could ever play in your family. And if anything, I would say to those women who do have this obsession with career and, you know, job titles and all the rest of it, is that you suffer from a severe case of Venus envy. That's what you suffer from. A severe case of Venus envy. Hitherto, we shall now call this term Lulu envy to keep it a bit more kosher. You suffer from Lulu envy. That's why you want to do man stuff. Let's continue.
Then it is within his right for him to expect her to contribute towards the household bills because she is taking value from him.
What if she's not though? Like, okay, let's just be on the, like,
She is.
I understand where you're coming from. I agree with a lot of stuff you're saying.
Mm.
What if she's not? Because some sisters say we discussed this, like, yeah, we can be super sisters. I'm like, well, that's amazing. So they can, like, we can do that and work. If they can do that, if they're not transgressing against your rights, are you Islamically bound to ask for that?
Not put it Islamically, okay? I'm not saying Islamically you're bound to, but Islamically she don't need to work in the first place because I'm patterning up affairs. Do you understand? This is something she wants to do.
Yeah,
but
if the husband doesn't want it to work, you're right. Islamically, in this perspective, Islamically, the husband has a right to say that you are not allowed to work.
Exactly.
100%. But you're saying, for example, that if she is working, you will take a cut off that. Like, I don't know if that's
100%.
I don't know if that's Islamically correct. But number two, if, for example, you're saying if she has a part-time job, argument's sake, which is very, like, rare, but devil's advocate, if she's not violating your rights, do you have a right to? Would you still expect to take?
So let's address this in two ways. First of all,
like she's spending on a Mac.
I thought this was just me until I started talking about it with other men online, and I realized, crap, it's not just me. It's everyone.
It's a big thing, bro.
A man just likes to know his wife's at home.
Yeah, 100%.
Even when I'm at home,
yes,
I like knowing.
Put a 1 in the chat right now if you're married and you're one of those guys who likes, you know what? Just let the brother continue. Let Donnie continue.
My wife is there. Even she's cooked, she's cleaned.
Yeah, same,
I don't
bro,
even want her to talk to me, bro.
Same.
Don't talk to me.
You know what I do, bro? I say to my wife, I call her. She said, "What do you want from me?" Just come sit next to me, bro.
That's it.
Just come sit next to me. You know what, bro? Just your presence is fine.
That's it.
I understand. It's just like
that is value, Ali.
Yes.
That is value.
Yes.
So she's done everything. You'd think logically there's nothing to do. No, I just like you being here.
Put a 1 in the chat if you can relate to that. There's nothing to do in the house. Your wife's done everything. She's patterned up everything. There's nothing to do. She's pulling her hair out. What do you want from me, man? I've done it all. I just like knowing that you're here, just in case. Yani, I don't know. Maybe I'll need my toes massaged or something. Maybe you need to like massage my feet. I don't know. Just hang about. Just be there. Or come and sit next to me. Don't talk. Don't talk. Too much noise, but just be there. Look at all the ones in the chat. Look at all the ones in the chat. I'm telling you, bruv. Put one in the comments if you can relate.
But what I've done, I know. I just want you to be here. But you're not even talking to me. I know. I just want you to be here.
Interesting.
So if you're going to the workplace, that value is taken away from me now. And let me give you a story. There's a situation I dealt with not too long ago. I can't give too many details. This one sister, she decided 10 years before divorcing her husband that she wanted to divorce her husband. Her husband, mashallah, was very high earning.
Yeah, women are like that. They plan ahead. Yeah, that divorce happened a long time ago.
He's a very high earning individual in a professional field.
That's a good point, by the way, that I just brushed over that Ali made there. That divorce happened a long time ago. Facts, bruv. Absolute facts. When a woman plans her break from you, her divorce from you, this is the stage that will happen. You're fighting, you're arguing, you're fighting. Suddenly, there's no more arguments. And you as a man, you're thinking, whoa, I think we've actually resolved this. I think we're moving on to better pastures. I think like we've gotten past this now. And then next thing you know, you get the shock of your life when she just ups and leaves. Why? Because she already put a full stop in the relationship long time ago. After that, it was just formalities. She was just taking care of affairs, maybe saving up some money, just lining up the next place, or maybe even lining up the next brother. Yeah, maybe even lining up the next brother. And then you have the shock of your life when she eventually does leave. It happens, bro. It happens. Ma S, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. The problem is that being a maid is often used as an insult, especially when arguments arise between spouses. I'm assuming this is from a sister then. Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Just as calling a man a wallet is an insult. It's a derogatory term, right? I'm sure it does. I'm sure it is used. And what is the whole purpose of insulting in the first place, even though it's a terrible practice? But we've all fallen prey to it. We've all made that mistake. When you insult someone, you insult them to hurt them. You don't insult them to make them feel better about themselves. So you're going to intentionally say things that will hurt them. That's why they say the truth comes out in arguments. I would say the truth is exaggerated in arguments, exaggerated for effect, to hurt the other person. So you have to take lightly what is said in argumentation, even though it can be hurtful, of course.
Yeah. And he was taking care of the household completely. And he was of the mindset that I should take care of the household completely.
Yeah.
And my wife can work and her money is her money. Bro, do you know what she did for 10 years? She saved money, bro.
Oh, I think I heard you mentioned that she saved money. And
she saved money,
yeah,
so she could bounce.
Okay. So okay. 1 second. Why is that? Okay.
You know what? Yeah, the sisters are laughing. You know why the sisters are laughing? I'm on to you, sisters. I'm on to you. You know why they're laughing? Because they know what's up. They're like, oh, damn. The brothers be out here exposing us like this. You can't be doing us like that. They're laughing because they look, the three of them. I'm about to have these two on in a second, and we can ask them about it. The three of you are laughing because you know it's true. You know it's true.
Okay, let me put it like this.
Go on.
Islamically, please tell me or bring me an evidence why that is wrong. Because what's happening here is the following. I'm tying my camel. How am I tying my camel? Number one, I'm giving her Islamic rights. If she's plotting behind me, look, I cannot violate those rights because you know why? She's doing something that she's going to be sinful for. She's going to be planning. She's literally plotting against me. That's fine. What you're doing on the day of judgment there. But I know when I stand in front of Allah, Allah's going to say, did you give her rights? Oh, Allah gave her rights. Did you violate the rights? Yes, you're in trouble. So I would say I know where you're coming from, and men should be smart, but not at the cost of going against the Sharia. This is why it's so beautiful that the Sharia is in such a way where your opinions, or like I'm not talking about you, just anyone's opinions, they're coming. I feel like this or sister's coming. I don't care about your feelings, bro. I don't care about your feelings.
And to touch on this point, absolutely, Annie, this is what the Sharia is for, and hence why I said the Tijani tax that you must impose upon your wife who wants to work the Tijani tax of 79%, by the way, whereby you will be taking 79% of all her wages. And in fact, you will not be taking it. Excuse me, let me get my words right. She will be voluntarily, happily, willingly offering you, giving you, with a smile on her face, 79% of all of her wages. If you are working and patterning up the bills on your own, and she wants to work anyway, no problem, my darling. You can go to work, of course. I am modern. It's 2023. Habibti, we are not in the stone ages. You can work. Please, I want you to work. No problem. Just sign the contract here, please. What is this contract? Oh, the contract is 79% of all your wages I will be taking. Oh, I don't like it. Oh, no problem, Habibti. Stay at home then. Oh, but I want to work. No problem, Habibti. You can work. Sign the contract. 79%. No problem, no problem. I am easy. I am modern. I don't say no to women. I say yes. Yes, you can work. 79% tax. You don't agree? No problem. Yes, you can stay at home. You don't stay at home? Yes, you can work. 79% tax. Come on, bruv.
I know where you're coming from, and the times we're living in where women have so much power, they are destroying
I'm not
men.
saying he should have forced her to take his her money.
But is it wrong? Because if I know she's plotting argument's sake here,
Yeah.
I would say my duty upon you is what I have to pay for these bills. I have to do all of this. I will give you argument's sake. This is how much I can afford a week, £50, £60, whatever it may be. I'm going to carry on doing that. You're plotting against me? Okay, that's from you.
This is what I'm saying.
You know what I'm trying to say?
This is what I'll say is this. It's very simple. In this instance here, the brother's regret was, I wish that I made her contribute towards the house, or that she didn't work at all.
No.
Because
okay, don't work at all, 100%.
Let me finish, Ahi.
Yeah, okay,
Because the brother now,
Mm.
he's nearly 60 years old.
Yeah.
He had to give up the house to her that he bought
Yeah,
himself
yeah.
because the government gave it to her.
Yeah.
And he has to rebuild his life as an old man.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Mm.
It's that
Mm.
either you're paying, this is the conversation you can have.
Yeah.
Either you're paying towards the bills or you're staying at home. Me personally, you're just staying at home. But if you're the gentleman, you want to entertain this discussion and whatever, fine, no problem, Habibti. But you're gonna be paying, baby, because you're taking value away from me.
That's fine. That's fine. The one thing I just want to say is this: 100%, you're right.
The sisters are cracking up. Yeah, they're cracking up. You know why? Because I don't say no. I agree. I am a modern. I am 2023 Muslim. Don't you know? I am very modern. I agree. I want you to have your rights and all of this. That's why they're laughing, because it's like, why is this brother saying yes, but I'm still losing? How is he saying yes and I'm still losing? I am modern. I tell you, I want you to be happy, woman. Be happy. Yes, please work. Please go to work. 79%. No problem.
The husband says that I don't want you to work, 100%. But there cannot be a violation of her rights, even though if she's plotting against you. It's the specific rights that Sharia is given, even if she is, because you know what that means. Like at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you, yeah. Like if somebody took, like, let's say, I don't know, 30 grand, you give someone 30 grand debt, and he's not paying, yeah. And I'll be honest with you, bro, that was my family savings, etc. But wallahi, somebody, and I'm not trying to sound like being pious here, but wallahi, on the day of judgment, bro, you owe me 30 grand. The Prophet ﷺ refused to do the janazah of somebody who owed the debt to someone. And the other guy said, you know what, I'll pay his debt. And he came after a certain amount of time and said, I have found him pay his debt. You know what the Prophet ﷺ said? Now his skin is away from the fire, or something along those lines. When he paid it eventually. So the consequences, again, goes to tawakkul. Does this mean we shouldn't tie our camel? Of course we should tie our camel. But our tying our camel should be according to the Sharia.
The solution to this is simple. It's actually, this doesn't work.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
That 100%. Husband,
if you're that guy,
I'm with you.
But the reality is, and when we have these conversations, we should make the conversation tailored to the masses. The masses require at least 1.5 income. If you're living in London, you need 10 incomes, bro, to run a house.
Yeah,
do you understand?
True, yeah.
Especially now. So that's the reality.
100%. I 100% agree with you that the husband has a full right to tell her wife not to work. But the topic at hand again is, which you didn't answer, Mehdi. So if it's a 50-50 situation, you would be okay with washing the dishes, like, because you know what it is. I'm just trying to understand the dynamic.
If I am working full time, and my wife is working full time, it's not unreasonable for her to ask me, Habibi, do you mind helping me out in the house?
Even if she is working full time, and she said to you, please, can you help me? I'm tied up.
No, even if she's working or she's not working.
If she is working.
Yes. Again, I'll repeat again what I said earlier in the stream. If it's a 50-50 thing, she's contributing 50%. It's downright oppression of you to not help out. Oppression. Why? Because you're doing 50% of your job and she's doing 150% of her job. I'm only repeating that point because there's 100 more people in the stream right now than there were when I said that half an hour ago. It's downright oppression, mate. It's not your fault. The value of labor has halved. It's not your fault. But it's the situation we find ourselves in. If she wants to do it on her own, she's happy to do it on her own. She's happy to work 40 hours and take care of the whole house on her own. MashaAllah, al-ayn wal-ras. Incredible. Allahu Akbar. Superwoman.
So,
You are
no,
so
no,
what
no,
I'm
that's what
saying
you're
is,
if she's not working,
Okay,
I'm
good.
sorry.
That's
If
okay.
she's not
if
working,
she's not working,
and you know she's tied up, she's done lots
That's
of
the
stuff.
question. That's the
She's,
question.
you know,
I will
she's on the
answer.
time of the
Exceptional
month,
of
circumstance.
course.
and she's like, "Can you please help me
Yes,
with the
I will
dishes?"
say to her, of course, Habibti, I'll do the dishes. By the way, you got the rent this week.
You're taking the mick.
Okay. Look.
Why
Okay.
do men go into marriages
Okay,
hating
okay.
their wives?
Okay, good.
Here's the thing, yeah. And you know what? Actually, because the sister, I can't remember, the sister Ira, who's been quiet in the white scarf, she's about to say something right now. I think it's around this time with regards to everything for you is a value exchange. Why is that? And I'm going to touch on it when she brings that point up.
A lot of this is us hating our
Let me
wives.
tell you why.
I'll treat my wife like a princess.
But that's
I just
not
want to do the
treating
dishes.
your wife as a princess. If I've asked my husband,
No, but
please,
sister,
can
I
you help me
agree.
with the
Okay, let's-
dishes?
Yes, I will do the
And then
dishes. Shopping's on you.
And he taxes me.
Okay. Okay, guys. Let's get a bit serious here, please. Yeah, let's put John.
Yes, I'm going to tax you, bruv. I'm going to tax you for doing the dishes. This is exactly what it is. The journey tax.
to the side a little bit. It's okay. I'm not trying to be rigid, yeah. But the thing is, just to get back to the topic, yeah. The question here is at hand because you said hating your wives. That's a big statement, yeah, sister.
No.
May Allah bless you, yeah. I know you do a lot of contribution, but the thing is this, yeah.
Let me elaborate.
Yeah, please elaborate. Just yeah, because when you say the word hate, yeah, you got these sisters like, yeah, my husband must hate me. Please just elaborate what you mean.
I mean, yeah, if you go into a relationship with this, you know, kind of contentment, like my money and she has to offer me value, it can come across as hate, or it can come across as a unfair, unbalanced situation. You're not flowing in life
Business
peacefully
contract.
and freely.
Sister Fahima said business contract. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. Here,
Exactly.
here's the thing: is that
Yeah.
if you mentioned
not.
an issue with the word value, like you have to get value. Do you know what the opposite of value is, sister?
Yeah.
Valueless. If you're offering value, look, you know, especially men understand this as well. As a man, I find.
Before I get to that as well, shout out to Ibrahim. Mahdi, thank you for the $10 super chat, my man. Mahdi, where's the smack button? You know what, bro? This one's for you, Akhi. I'll give you another one as well. Whack! Whacking these arguments into the floor, bruv.
An honor to be used by other men. If I can be used, it means by extension I am useful. If I can't be used, I'm useless. So if you are offering value, it's because you're valuable.
Okay,
Do you see?
Can we use it
But
better
a
word?
wife
Because the word
is
use.
This is something now I speak directly to the men, okay? I speak directly to the men, especially when I get quite a lot of young men reaching out to me. Mahdi, can you come on my podcast? I go and click on their YouTube channel. There's 23 subscribers. You need to understand something, okay? Whenever you are approaching someone to get value from them, you must first ask yourself, how can I give this person value? What value can I bring them? WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's our favorite radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? We are all concerned about how something benefits us or doesn't benefit us. And actually, it's getting to the point now where my email, the email attached to this YouTube gets spammed every day, bruv. Spammed. And my inbox gets flipping spammed on Instagram as well, of various different individuals asking for things from me, even if it's my time. Now, I try my best when I'm asked for advice to give the advice and to answer the question, because the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-haqqul Muslim ala Muslim sit. that the right of the believer, of the Muslim upon another Muslim is 6. One of those is when he is asked for advice, he gives him advice, he answers. So I do try my best to answer. But bruv, when you get 50 to 100 DMs a day, it gets a bit long, bruv. It becomes a job. Do you understand? So you must ask yourself, okay, I want A, B, C, D, and E. I have 23 YouTube subscribers. I want this guy to come on my channel. He has 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. He clearly has a lot more value to bring your channel than your channel has to bring his. You need to wrap your head around this. Not everything is about charity and my brother, but what about for the sake of Allah? Do you understand how many times a day we get these requests? It would be impossible to live our lives if we responded to every single one of them. You need to tune your head. Get out of yourself and your worries and your wants and what you need and what your issues, and start asking yourself, how can I bring other people value? I would like some value from this person. How can I go about beginning this relationship? By offering him value. How do I do that? Genuine value. I had somebody email me the other day. Allah understand, bro, this is bordering on lying. This gentleman, he lives in the developing world. I'm not going to say which country because I don't want him to get embarrassed, because he knows who he is and he watches my stuff and he likes my stuff. He's a young man, teenager, late teens. And the email he sent me caught my eye. He said to me, I'd like to do your TikTok shorts and Instagram reels. Guys, by the way, I have a team doing that. It's very annoying, keep getting these emails, but whatever. He shot his shot. I'd like to do your TikTok shorts and Instagram reels and YouTube shorts. And I can promise you 1 to 3 million views a month. These are his words, not mine. I was like, rah, you can promise. Like, that caught my eye. Normally I ignore these emails. I got back to him and I just simply said to him, bro, how are you able to promise me 1 to 3 million views a month? How? And he got back to me and he said to me, oh, well, I don't know whether I will. Literally, this is his response. I don't know whether I will be able to do that, but I'm a really hard worker. Excuse me? What? Are you for real, bruv? Nobody cares about your hard work. I don't care if you don't work hard. Do you understand this? If I pay you to do a job, I don't care if it takes you 25 seconds. I don't care about your hard work. I care about results. This is a results-based business. You said you're going to get me 1 to 3 million views, and now you're telling me I don't know if I'll be able to get it, but I'll work really hard. Now, he's a young man, so I went easy on him, and I want to kind of go easy on him here as well, because he's learning, and he's doing his best to get himself out of a situation. He's living in conditions much more difficult than what I am used to here in the West. So, you know, shout out to him for doing his best. But you can't just make up whiffle waffle like this. You have to come with genuine value and then stand by your word as well. And your word, by the way, is more important when you are small than when you are big. When you're big, you can afford to make mistakes and people will be like, okay, it doesn't matter. He's got a reputation for producing results. But when you're small and nobody knows you, your word is all you have. You will live and die on your word. And your word should be important regardless of how big or small you are. I'm just saying it's more important when you're small. Remember that. So ask yourself, how can I be of use? How can I be of value to this individual that I want to extract value from? Please.
This has a
Valuable.
negative connotation, because I know what
Which
you're
one?
saying.
Which one?
Used, because it has a negative connotation. Can we change that with something because it'll be more palatable? Because when we say used, it's like degrading. It's not what you're trying to say.
No, I want to be used
Of
because it means I'm
service, of
useful.
service.
The word
of
has a negative
service.
connotation.
Semantics.
This person
semantics.
used me. Yes, no, but you know what it is. Sometimes, look, Andrew Tate, yeah, may Allah
Yeah,
bless
I
him.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
This person
you know
used
what
me.
it is. He speaks so much haqq, but the delivery sometimes is so bad, and this is why Sheikh Albani said, the haqq for people to accept the haqq is hard. Don't make it worse with your bad akhlaq. And I'm not talking about anybody. Don't make it by using specific words, and you're not saying intentionally.
Yes, Hamza. I don't know who you are, bro, but this is live.
But if there's another word, you know what the brother means. I'm just trying to have a personal advantage of him and those who's watching. When he means used, it means that he's resourceful. Should we say maybe resourceful, maybe?
Well, I use the word use very, very specifically because use ties into useful.
Yes.
and useless on the other end of the spectrum as well.
But it's a negative
Are you with
connotation.
me?
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
But I
It
know
has
what you mean.
negative
So
connotation.
that's what you mean. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's it. So don't see this value. Oh, why do I have to get value? It means, Habibti,
But
you're valuable.
we are valuable.
When my wife gives me value,
As a woman, we
Mm.
are invaluable,
Allah,
especially
Salli ala nabi.
especially
Aywa, let's go.
especially when you're married.
Yeah.
For me personally, my husband earns
Oh man, Sister Mira's gonna be coming on, so you know what? We might even ask her. You know what? If you want me to ask her about this, what does that mean? We are valuable. Put a comment right now. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. Because women have been sold on this idea that they are valuable by default, and to a point there is truth in that, but not for the reasons that they may think. Men, by and large, are judged by their ability to produce, right? If you want to go and marry a woman, the first thing the dad's going to say is, well, where are you going to house her? How are you going to look after her? Blah, 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 etc., 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 right? That's not what you ask a woman. These are not questions that you ask women. These are not questions that we have for them. Why? Especially when she's a younger woman. The value she is bringing is her youth, her beauty, and her fertility. That's the value that she's bringing. Now, a lot of women might not like that. That might sound unsavory to them, but it is the truth. There is value in that. There is absolutely value in that. As we see today, the highest earning OnlyFans girls are all young girls. You never saw one 85-year-old granny making bank on OnlyFans, bruv. Yeah, selling her beauty on OnlyFans at 85 years old. It's not happening. And there's some weirdos out there, but you understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying.
very well.
May
I
Allah
work
increase
from
them.
home
Ameen.
full time. I'm on
Ameen. May Allah increase them.
maternity right
Alhamdulillah.
now.
May Allah bless you.
However, we both work from home. We work out together. We are in a relationship. We do things together. Sometimes the baby's screaming, crying. He will help me. And I think that is good akhlaq and good adab from his side and good upbringing. It doesn't mean, oh, this week I have to pay the rent. He takes care of everything, but we work together. We're like friends.
No, I
best
agree.
friends.
Here I agree
And
with
I
you.
would never have bad intentions
Sister Ira, here
on
I-
my best
Sister
friend,
Amira,
Amira.
Sister Amira, here I agree with you. If let's say that something needs to be done in the house, halas, if I want to do it, I'll do it. The problem arises when it becomes an expectation. Habibi, it's Tuesday, 3 p.m. Why haven't you done the dishes?
Okay.
This is the issue.
But I don't think
If
men
they-
should
if I
have that
see-
expectation on us either.
No. Okay, one second.
Okay, no problem. No,
Hire me a maid.
One second.
No,
Sister,
no,
sister,
me a maid.
sister,
Hold on,
sister,
Ali,
sister.
Ali, لحظة، لو سمحت، لحظة. Habibi, لحظة. No problem, sister. I agree with you. I should not have the expectation on you. And you should not have the expectation on me to pay the landlord at the end of the month. We're going to be homeless.
Is he right or wrong?
Okay, hold on.
We're going to be homeless and
your
foodless.
duty is placed upon you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
Mhm.
My duty, no, because in Islam, as a woman, we have rights. And if you want your house clean, hire me a maid.
Okay.
Realistically, yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
not a slave.
No.
Okay,
One
Muhammad.
second. One
Hire me a
second.
maid.
Sister, let's put this in the context. I'm so sorry. 1 second. Yeah. Let's rewind a bit. Yeah. The man is a full-time security guard. When a thief breaks in the house, best believe you're the one's gonna waking up faster than waking up for Fajr. Yeah. You're gonna tell him. You're gonna tell him. Listen, I'm hearing some mad noises downstairs. You better bounce and do something about it. He's gonna be going to find wherever it may be. Yeah. Another example I gave is when you're walking down the road, next man comes and starts saying something to you. Best believe if that guy hears that and walks away, you're going to lose all respect for him. But if he comes and sparks that guy in the face, yeah, he's your protector. Number 3, earning. You know what's very interesting? Yeah, sometimes when disputes happen between mother and father, you see the kids inclining to the mother a lot. Yeah, you know why? Because they can visually see what the mother's doing in the house. Look at my mom. She's here. She's there. She's looking after us. Wallahi, if you guys had a CCTV camera and saw that dad sweating, picking up those bags of whatever it may be he's carrying, his back breaking, wallahi, then we would understand what our fathers do. So the thing is, now he's a protector, he's a provider, yeah. And not only that, and another thing I want to say is, do you guys have sons? Okay, you know what I find really interesting psychologically as well, yeah? When you're talking about these kind of things, think about your son. So when you're saying any time, but just think about your son and be like,
No, Ali,
So
I'm
the
sorry. I
dynamics can
disagree with
change.
you. Everything you said, I disagree with.
please tell me
I'll
why.
tell you why. I agree with Sister Amira.
Yeah.
She said that you should marry them, that you should hire a maid. If you want me to clean, I agree. I'll hire the maid and I'll marry the maid.
Boom.
I'll marry the maid.
Okay, so you know,
Why? Because I.
Yes, that's gangster, yeah. Love that.
Listen, It's not a problem. We can get that made. I got you. Habibti, you know what? You're right. We need a maid in the house. And you know what? Seeing as I have to pay the maid, I might as well marry her because it's not going to make any difference. And I'll keep paying her. In fact, I'll give her more because she's my wife now. So not only is she going to be paid to clean, she's going to get more. She's going to get a house. She's going to get food. Bismillah, mashallah. I told you, within reason, men are wallets and women are wet maids. It is what it is. Yes, Chad Sultan. I see you there, bro. Trust me, big slap moment.
Shaquille, you're
You
right,
guys,
sister.
sister, I agree. I'll hire her, marry her.
Shaquille, look, okay, it's interesting, but you see, that was interesting because you know why people like, yeah, the first they were like, especially sisters watching this, yeah, brother Ali chatting bare breeze. Mahdi comes in, yeah, you got brother Mahdi, and then after my drop second wife, bun brother Mahdi as well, yeah. But anyway, sister, brother Shaquille, yes, is there anything you want to add on? Because you guys been silent, and I want to hear sister Ira as well and sister Fatima, please.
I'm gonna save my.
Okay, save it. Okay, save it. Yeah,
no,
but
no,
again,
no. I mean, I ain't got nothing to say. I'm gonna keep my.
okay. May Allah bless you.
my
That's all.
Shout out to Barry Akhir Riyadh. Appreciate the £5 super chat, my man. Hire me a maid that's like taking on a business partner who adds zero value to increasing the business's revenue, but wants to take 100% dividends. Absolutely. See, women they have a gripe with analogies like this. They don't like, but this is not a business. I'm your wife. I'm special. You know, I think us as fathers, we ruin our daughters. Wallahi, I'm a father. I've got girls, yeah. I have to really restrain myself. I'm not gonna lie to you, bruv, because I just want to call them all sorts of names. I call them lovely names, and like I say nice names to them, but I want to go like I want to ruin. I have this thing like I want to ruin them. Like, by what I mean by ruin is I want to say the most ridiculous statements. You're the most beautiful girl in the world. I got some of the things I say. If you saw me how I talk to them, I've got this thing where I say to whenever I see either of the girls, I say to them, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful woman ever to be created of them all? Bruv, I gotta rein that ish in, bruv. It's no good. It's not good. And I'm saying it right now because they're little babies, they don't understand. But the truth is, if I keep saying that, if I keep talking that nonsense, she's actually gonna grow up to believe it. She will grow up to believe it. So whilst it's sweet and cute and like nice now, the truth of the matter is fathers have a tendency of ruining their daughters. There's a clip of Stephen Harvey actually saying that. He said, I ruined my daughters. But how did he ruin them? He said, whatever they wanted, I bought them, whatever. So he said, if you want to marry one of my daughters, you better be like packing money-wise. You better have loads of money, because you got high standards to me. And this is, by the way, this is a good segue. I was once asked, some sister, she messaged me on Instagram. She said to me, Assalamu alaikum, brother Mahdi. I've been watching you for a while. I really like your stuff. And I come from a very wealthy family. I've grown up in riches, basically. But after watching your stuff, I feel like I need to be more realistic and consider brothers, average brothers. So first of all, shout out to the sister for actually even having that wherewithal, that awareness to even consider that. That's a big leap. To consider a brother who's an average earning brother, just so that she doesn't get hung out to dry on the marriage market and she never finds a husband, basically. Shout out to the sister. She was a young sister in her late teens or early 20s for having that awareness. But do you know what my response to her was? I said to her, no. As per the advice of the Prophet ﷺ, you need to marry into a family that can provide you with what you are used to. This is actually Islamic advice. That girl, I mean, her family are going to have a tough time, but hopefully they are connected. They know other wealthy families and they can marry their daughter into the family of another wealthy family. And this tends to be the case anyway. Wealthy families tend to marry their kids into other wealthy families. It's just the way it goes. And that's the advice that I gave her, because she needs to have the same level as what she is used to. It's going to be very, 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 very hard for her to go backwards like that. And this shows the practicality of the religion, by the way. Islam's a very practical religion. It's a very practical religion. It doesn't ignore like human things. It's very practical. Shout out to Ibrahim for the $5 super chat. Many women can't appreciate the amount of hard work and sweat that goes on for many men to provide for them. Sad reality. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Women, by and large, don't care anyway. They don't care about your struggle. They don't care about your sweat, your struggles, and so on. They just don't care, bro. They just want to see results. It is what it is. Let's continue.
Honorable.
Huh?
Would you do chores? Would you help your wife?
Of course I would.
Okay.
Yeah, of course I would. I'll clean up.
But you didn't
I'll-
touch upon the point that we made as well, yeah?
Yes,
We
it-
mentioned all that's a protector, provider, security guard. The guy's putting his life on the line. Look what's happening in Ukraine. There's a war happening, yeah? All these people, even the ones that are trans, they're like, no. I'm fully, yeah. They're like, no, brother, what was you born as? Okay, you're staying. So you see that when things go peak, the men are in the front lines, and these feminist women, they're saying, you know what? We missed the kitchen now, bro. The kitchen was a banging place to be, yeah? I make biryani all day, every day. So you see, we live in a situation where things are so calm that you can have, look, female police officers. I'm so sorry, man. I saw one female police officer chasing a guy. Wallahi, I didn't know if she was dancing or she was running, yeah? Bro, wallahi, I was like, this is unbelievable. And obviously, I don't want to get cancelled, but I'm saying you can be a police officer. You get what I'm saying, yeah? The point is this, bro. Come on, bro. There was one guy, he's a general, American soldier. He said, we had to take a woman off the battlefield. She was causing brothers, like men to die. So come and do the phone calls or whatever you want to do, yeah? Because she was causing, now this is a reality. So what we're saying is, sister, is that a man is doing all, and it's belittled. And I want to add something.
I agree.
I want to add something. Just want to add something, yeah? And this is controversial, but wallah, it's the haq. If you had a job opportunity, and the job opportunity was the following: there is somebody hiring, and he wants you to make coffee and tea, or you have to cook him lunch at this time and do the paperwork and whatever it may be. He's your boss, and he says £55 for 10 minutes. For an hour, forget an hour, 55 minutes for every 10 minutes. £550 or whatever it may be an hour. You'll be running to that job. You'll be like, oof. And this is where I don't understand, yeah? That when you're being paid, you're like, bruv, biryani, man's gonna make you bloody, like, what you wanna call it? What's the best dish, bruv? Give me, where are you from?
Algeria.
What's the best dish there?
Lahma.
Okay,
Lahma
Turkish,
wa
yeah.
lahma.
Bro, let me tell you something, yeah?
Lahma wa lahma.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Sisters will be cooking the most banging food. Everything's on time. Tea, coffee. And then the thing is this. The same man, just think about it, that boss, he doesn't care about you. He pays you. He can replace you instantly. Your husband is willing to die for you, and he is willing to do that. Why don't we be like, hold on a second, bro. This guy's paying for the rent, for the bill, etc., whatever it may be. And why do we not see our husbands like that? But the moment if it's a boss, the sister like, yeah, of course, for £550 an
Nah,
hour.
bro, I
Don't get
told
me
you.
wrong. Sorry.
No. I would like to know the answer to that. I don't remember if Sister Fahim is about to speak. I don't remember if this was answered satisfactorily. Why is that an issue, sisters? Why is it that you don't mind working for your boss, but you do mind working for your husband? Is it because, like, when love is involved, you feel like, love should be unconditional? Here's the thing, yeah. Love is the most unconditional for women. Women are the most unconditional with their love. The most unconditional. Hence why the majority of divorces are initiated by women. If you are not meeting certain standards and expectations over a meaningful enough period of time, trust and believe, bro, all of that unconditional love business, it's out the window. It's out the window, mate. It's all gone. It's all nonsense.
No, I'm sorry.
me
So, no, I
touch on
agree
that.
with the sister here. When we should hire the
No,
maid.
stop. Let
No,
me
but
marry
not
the maid.
Let's
Let
not talk
me
about the
touch
maid you're
upon-
talking about.
let me touch
All right, let's
upon
allow the sisters talk, and then we're gonna
Hire, fire. Hire
Yeah.
this one, fire that one.
Yeah,
and this
stop.
one's gonna do. She's not only gonna make the food, she's actually gonna be a wife as well. Bro, it's a
Hold on.
win-win.
look,
I
it's-
agree
at the end of
with
the day,
what
it's halal,
Ali's
but
saying,
let's see
yeah.
what you're saying.
I personally,
Mm.
I love to cook. I do everything with happiness.
Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you, may
I,
Allah
I
preserve you.
do everything, alhamdulillah, please. But honestly, for the rebuttal of Mehdi, yeah, I had to make those points.
Okay, but the
because-
point that I made, do you
but the point
understand?
that you're making,
Yeah.
of course, I
That's
completely
all we
agree. I believe that the blessings that Allah is giving me is way more than any pay or any of that. At least we're in a
The blessing
partnership.
you're talking about your husband, by the way, yeah?
Yes,
Yes,
of course.
yes. And the
My
blessings he
husband, and I
brings, yeah.
see how hard he works. And as women, we should learn to do these things. And I do see why marriages are failing when women cannot do these things. They cannot cook, they cannot clean, they cannot raise children. And I think that parents should, if your daughter is lazy, and you know she's lazy, that should be open discussion. You have to tell the man that is going to marry her, because it's a very big problem in marriages. You know, some women don't even change the sheets of the bed after 2 weeks, and this is really disgusting behavior. So of course I do agree. However, I do think you should have rahmah and mercy upon your
Yeah,
wife,
of course,
and you should help.
Sister,
Do the
Amira, that's a
chores.
given. Look, sister.
Not
help me,
you.
man. No.
No.
No, I'm sure he agrees. Come on, like, look.
Yeah, obviously, I wash a
There
fork.
was a post. listen. There was a post that you did early on,
Yeah.
which I like really disagreed with.
Yeah.
About the thing, like, for example,
No, talk about it.
yeah,
Listen,
no, I am.
listen.
That's one of the reasons I invited you, because I want to understand you better. Yeah, I don't think you come from a malicious place, but I genuinely want to understand you better. When it was about your wife giving birth,
Say the whole,
and you did clarify. You did say that
but there
basically.
might be people, new people watching.
Okay,
who don't know what
good.
you're talking
So
about.
clarify it. So number one, and that's one of the reasons I brought you here, because at the end of the day, I don't believe you have evil intent. Yeah. So it was about your wife was giving birth. You tell me, what was it that happened?
Yeah. So my wife went into labor,
Yes.
and I said to Habibti, mashallah, you got this.
Yeah.
Called the ambulance. They were on their way.
Yeah.
Made sure the door was open. I said, I'm off to bed. Not just that.
Yeah.
Not just that.
Yeah.
I put, on the new iPhone, on the 13 onwards, you can
Yeah.
put the white noise.
Yes.
I put the ocean wave thing on, bruv, so that I'm
Yeah.
not disturbed, because it was early in the morning.
Okay.
Like next to my ear. Do
Okay.
you understand?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, a couple hours later, we got a baby.
Okay. 1 second. Look. Just go into, because yeah,
Just chatting.
Sister Amira's mouth literally dropped. Well,
Look. 1 second. No. It's not China.
No, this is real story.
It's not China. So now.
Yeah. But once I give you the context, you'll understand.
Okay, no, but why are you not
She
giving the
had
context?
it.
Because you know why? Because you can be blameworthy because you're
Yeah.
putting shubahat in people's minds about yourself, and it's not nice. And I'm not saying you do it on purpose. What is the context? Because
The
people are
context-
thinking your wife is about to give birth, and you're telling her go upstairs, babe, and all the
As
best.
soon
in
as
the
I give
future.
you context, all of you are gonna be like, "Oh, okay, that makes
That's
sense."
what we want, Aki. We don't look. We want the context from the get go. We don't even want to think. Don't let us look. Shaitan already battling
First of
Shaitan.
all,
You're aiding us.
as a principle, yani, it's not the place for a man to be with a woman in the labor ward. This is not the place.
I agree and disagree. I agree
Yeah,
and
it's
disagree.
it's not a man's place. This is even in England. This is a new thing, bro. Go and watch period movie pieces. Do you know what the men would do just from post World War One, 1925 onwards? You know what men would do when his wife goes into labor? They go to the pub. They go to the pub, bro, and they drink beer until the baby's born.
Explain why, so people understand. I know where you're coming from. That's the point I'm agreeing with. You
Women
talked about-
are better at helping other laboring women. Hence why most midwives are women in the first place.
Good. That's point number one. Point number two, you mentioned something which I agreed with,
Hmm.
which is that's obviously.
if you've never been in a labor ward, if you've never seen a laboring woman as a man, then maybe you will not be able to viscerally understand what we're referring to here. It's not your place, bro. It's not the one. Like, okay, maybe you want to see the first one, whatever. Hey, you got to understand, yeah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Allah has blessed me with many children from a young age. So, first kid I had was at 17. Second one was at 18. Third one was at 19. Third one died when I was 20. And then fourth one was like 22, and then 23, and then just, loads of kids from teens, 20s, and even now in my 30s. And I can tell you, bro, labor ward is not the one. It's not the one, bro. Women are much better equipped at helping other women whilst they're laboring. I'm about to tell the story in a second, but I remember the very first time I went into the labor ward with my eldest son, first kid. And as my wife was being escorted to our room, we were walking from room to room and passing different laboring women who were in labor in their rooms. Bro, if you've seen Saw, yeah, I swear to God, it's like that. All you're hearing is, ah! The noise. It fades in and fades out as you're walking past the room. Next room. Next room is that's the labor ward, bruv. And then you go into your room that you're with your wife, bro. You're just useless. You're useless. Why do you think it's all women who work as midwives? Because they're calm and you're doing so well, babe. Well done, you got this. And they hold your hand and squeeze your hand. And bro, men are terrible with this stuff. Terrible.
we're having a mature
I don't
discussion
want
here.
to have my husband see me in that way.
Okay, good. Which was good. Sister Fahima mentioned it. So basically, number 2 is that obviously a man that he's intimate, and if he sees certain stuff, that might put him off, which I was like very valid. However, if those things are fixed in the way where he doesn't need to see it, all you have to do is go behind the bed.
Exactly.
Simple. Because my wife gave birth, I was right behind her. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I'm not saying like it's something that I wanted to do. And I'm not just saying this. Like, I'm not someone just like, hey, give me a brownie point. Genuinely, I wanted to be there. Genuinely, wallahi. If I'm saying this, but the point I'm saying is, and I understand it was from a point of view where I didn't see nothing.
You know, the first time I walked
so
into
that's where I disagree with, and the 2 points that you mentioned, I agree with.
I've had a lot of children, alhamdulillah. So and some of them I've been there for, some of them I haven't been there for.
So you have been there. Oh,
Well,
you're saying that
I've had kids since I was 17 years old, bro.
Okay, mashallah.
understand?
But so you're saying that you've learned a lesson to better not to be from experience. Is that what you're saying?
Listen, first time I walked into, have you seen Saw? The movie Saw?
Yes.
First time I went into a labor ward, bruv, you walk
This
past
guy.
doors, and the noise it peaks and it fades. F this. I was like, bruv, what the hell is this? I would have been there. Anyway, what I've noticed in my experience with a laboring woman is that I'm like what do I do? I'm awkward and it's just. And then the midwife comes in, it's also natural, and these women are just so much better at it.
Okay,
It's so much better at it.
No,
But you do learn a lesson in life from it, though, right?
But that's let me be honest.
That the respect that you have for your mother when you witness this is unmatched. You can never match that. Like just watching your spouse, the woman that you love, who's risking her life. By the way,
to me, it was like, look, let me be honest. When I first came to Islam, I'm a human being. The sins that I would commit. There was 2 sins that I stopped by just by going burying 2 people that I knew. Yeah, that moment I said, nah, bro. And another perspective is when you see your wife giving birth. Yeah, it's just not just your wife. Like to me, when I looked, I was like, what an amazing creation Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has created in a woman. Yeah, it's amazing. That's why Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, like He talks about, we've given them 2 eyes, 1 mouth, 2 lips, and 1 tongue. Yeah, and Abdullah bin Masud actually says that that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has enabled the child. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and we showed them the 2 ways. Which 2 ways is the mother suckling. So the baby is aware and knows. Isn't it interesting? Like when the baby's born, it knows exactly what to do. So to me, it was a reflection point of, wow, man, this is a really an amazing thing. It just really makes you think. It makes you ponder. So from that perspective, I totally understand, and that's why I agree with you and disagree with you.
But now you've seen it, though, Aki, would you watch it again?
No, but the thing is, I never watched it. That's what I'm saying, bro. So I'm saying from a certain perspective, bro.
You didn't see it.
No, because you know why? But when you're behind the bed, when you're behind the bed, okay, there's a certain angle, bro. You don't see nothing. And let me be honest, on purpose, I didn't want to see nothing.
Yeah, but you want to be there.
I think that's part of it.
You want to be there to be part of it.
Yeah,
but what about the second time? Let's say your wife's.
Gents, listen. If you want to be there for your wife's first child, first labor, I should say, and you want to experience that, okay, fine, you want to experience it, whatever. Please, for the love of God, don't look, bro. Yeah, you just don't look. Alhamdulillah, I've never even been tempted to, nothing. But if you look, bro, and then after that, remember, this woman you're intimate with, you're going to resume intimacy with her afterwards, and that image is on your mind. I don't think so, Bev.
Yeah,
Would you do the exact same thing?
Okay,
again?
Because of the experience and the reflection that it gave me, I had nothing to lose. Now, is it a must? If my wife came and said, you must be there, the question I ask is, why do you say must? If it's a thing of feminist, I'm not coming. Just because you brought the whole feminist, I'm not coming. You know why? Because if you're going to measure our dynamics and our marriage success based on some feministic ideology, now I'm not coming. But if it's like, you know what, I would like you to be there. I would say this: if as a man it doesn't impact and then affect me, I'll be there. If it does, I'll tell her no. And guess what? If I told her the reason, she'll tell me don't come.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
And that's the clarification, which was in the hospital, but not in the house. You didn't give the house. We need it because we want people to assume the best.
Okay. Now I just want to understand from brother to brother. Yeah.
Ask me a question?
Yeah. You.
Big man thing.
You big man. You.
Abu Zakaria said, I was there, made the mistake of looking and almost fainted. This is not uncommon, This is not uncommon. What did I made a YouTube video about it. Can't remember what the title is, but it was a Channel 4 like documentary thing. I think it's called One Born Every Minute or Born Every Minute, referring to babies. And the amount of men who actually faint when their wives are in labor or girlfriends are in labor is crazy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if men have less of a tolerance to that gory stuff, tying back into what I said just now, that women are just better at this stuff than guys are. I don't know if men have a lower tolerance level or something. I don't know, bruv. The amount of guys that actually fainted, full on fainted. It's interesting.
Because I wasn't, you wiggled your way out of this one. I saw you. Yeah. But if she asks, is it a must? No.
Yeah,
Just
it's been the truth. Ask me
would
directly.
you go yourself because you want to go and experience that again?
No, but I said I've already have.
No, I know you have. But I'm
Yes.
saying, let's say your wife was
Would I do
pregnant
it again?
Would you go again for you because you feel like it's
For
such
myself.
yeah, because you
There's-
feel like it's so beautiful.
Yeah. No. Personally, I would say the first time I went, for example, it was an experience for me. Yeah? It was like so much things I learned from it. But why can I say I'm going to go back again for the same experience? No, I've already experienced it. So if I was to say, for example, that do you need me there? For what? Yeah. So if she comes and says, no, but I need you because, if you really care, hold on a second. So me caring is because of this specific moment that I have to be there. I would say that's problematic. I would come if I want to come. Yeah. And of course, in that situation, for example, if we're at home and I'm not going to be like, for example, what you said, I wouldn't do. Like, okay, you go, but nah, bro. My wife's in labor. I can't tell her, yeah, boss, babe, and then put. I personally, I would say, nah, that's a bit merciless. Personally, me, I would say that.
Can I just
But
add?
Have you seen the sunset?
also,
Have you
Maggie,
seen the
did say
sunset
something.
before?
You said the midwife came. Yeah, bro, you need to add that in because why are you making people? This is gonna be haram, bro.
Yeah,
You're
I
making
know
people think
why you
evil
did
of
that.
you. Yeah, no,
Finish
when
your question.
the midwife
I wanna hear
came.
your
Yeah,
opinion.
so viewers that are watching, yeah, the midwife came. So you didn't want to be there. He mentions
So I
reasons.
think the impression people
And we
got.
should assume the best.
I think the impression people got is basically my wife went into labor, yeah, and all hell broke loose.
Yes.
And I just bounced and I
Yes.
just bust.
But
Yeah.
that's your fault, bro. That's your fault. You put it like that. I saw your Instagram. You're to blame, bro. He was like, yeah, my wife went into labor. And I said, boss,
put the
you go,
thing,
babe.
put the thing.
I'll put it
afterwards.
up.
So, firstly and foremostly, my wife is used to having quick births. So quick, in fact, that one time when we went to the hospital, the baby was coming out on her way there because I had to meet her. And then when she got to the hospital, she gave birth in the hallway. She couldn't make it to the room.
Wow.
Baby said, like, she grabbed the hold of the midwife, said, I can't, that's it, it's coming. That's it. And it came out then and there. Right. After that, she said, I'm never going to the hospital again. Forget that. I'm having babies at home. So then after that, we had 2 more at home, alhamdulillah. Quick, happens, no problem, quickly, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. When she went into labor, called the ambulance, you're on your way, fantastic. Opened the door, made sure the door was open. Girls are upstairs, told them, listen, girls, your mom's going into labor now. If she needs you, anything like this, she probably won't, but just keep your ears out. I'm off to bed, mate. So then I had taken care of everything. The door was open. A&E came. I actually went to bed when the paramedics arrived. Not paramedics, because you have to arrange this stuff in advance.
So why did you not say that on your post, bro?
Because it's so long, bruv.
Bro, come on, bro. No, but you can be blameworthy of people having a negative assumption about you on purpose, and you're doing it on purpose, which is not correct
You don't want
Islamically.
people to have the
Because
perception that you don't
even
share.
now, no, but still, bro, still, bro. The thing is, these guys, because you know what you've done? You've made like this is why I invite. Look, let me be honest. This is the reason I was double-minded about inviting you. Let me be very honest here. We're men to men, okay?
Yeah.
Now, look, I have nothing against you.
And everyone should be, by the way.
Yeah, no.
I seriously recommend, by the way, having birthing at home. I was initially very skeptical towards it, even borderline against it. I was like, no, that's no, just go to the hospital. If something goes wrong, equipment and so on. But, and this is purely anecdotal, and I don't have research to back it, but I'm sure there's something on this. A woman's more relaxed in her home environment. There's something quite stressful about being in a hospital, being in that foreign, hot, clammy, warm environment. It's just more comfortable at home. And the more at ease and comfortable the woman is, the the more likely it is that her birth or her labor will be easy, fewer complications, and so on. So give it some serious thought and consideration if your wife's pregnant right now.
I have nothing personally against you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I've watched some of the stuff, like, you know, you've said, and there's certain things where I thought, you know what, this guy is not as evil as people make him out to be. So that's why I thought, look, I want to understand him better. So that's why I invited you here. And look, the clarification you gave, that's how it was. You
I'll
made
be
it
honest
seem
with
as
you,
a,
when I wrote the post, I think I have a bit of a how can I say, an extremist bent in my character in terms of my delivery. Even the way I
Yes.
apply myself to work,
Yes.
to anything I apply myself to is
Yeah.
in the extreme. And the way that
Okay.
I talk and negotiate and everything is on the extreme. So when I wrote that post, it came out naturally. It wasn't strategic, to be honest. I just put it out like, blah, there you go, post. I wasn't expecting it to go viral in the way
Do you
that it did.
regret it?
Of course not.
Mahdi.
Why would I regret it, bro?
Mahdi, man to man.
Yeah.
Could it have been worded a bit better?
Could I have given more context?
Mm.
Yeah, of course I could have given more context. Yeah.
Because you know why? Like I said before, the reason I'm doing it, bro, is I don't want people to think bad of you. Because I don't think you're an evil. Like, I know.
Brother Romero's there just creasing in the background. We had excellent chemistry. Shout out to Romero if you're there, Akhi.
There was things that you've done. Because I can remember I done a podcast with Hijab. And I referenced you. And I said, this is violence, it's oppression. Like, I believe, because and I stuck by that but now I can remember you done a podcast with Dilly. When you gave some context, and I was like, yeah. Why did you not say that? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because as a believer, I didn't want to think that of you. And alhamdulillah, that's the reason I brought you here, because
it was. I just put it out like that, to be honest. You know, sometimes I do word things in a particular way to be for maximum effect. That wasn't one of them. That was just boom, there you go. And I believe that, by the way. Now, maybe you could say you want to experience it for the first time. And you're seeing your child born. I've never looked, by the way, ever. Never want to either. But being in the vicinity, being there, you know, your child's born first time. I get that. It's an amazing thing. After that, bruv, I'm out. I'm going to the halal pub.
You know what? I just remembered as well, because I can remember when my wife was giving birth, she was actually saying to her mom to tell him to go out. Because she was like, I don't want him to see me like this. So that's why you need to understand. That's why I agree with the stuff that you said. People just see it as like, no, I'm so sorry. There's valid points here. So it was a nice balance. But going back.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. And Sister Fahima touched upon that, you know. Do you really want your husband to see you like that? And be logical. Think about it. Men are visual. If you're a woman, okay, and you want your husband to remain attracted to you and so on, just forget about all of this nonsense about, oh, but he should love me the way I am. And so we're visual creatures. And for better or for worse, we can be influenced for better or for worse according to what we see. You don't want us to see that. It's no good. Shout out to Lewis, Alfred, Nicholas Stalwart for the $10 super chat. # tone, please. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you. And by the way, guys, I will be bringing on Sister Fahima and Sister Amira that you see here in the pod in literally just a few minutes' time, inshallah.
Back to household chores. Would you expect your partners to do the hoovering, dishwashing?
And I'll tell you what. If you have questions that you want to ask them yourself, I will open up the lines afterwards and I will bring you on one by one. And you can ask them any questions that you may have, clarifications and so on yourselves. You can do it yourselves, but I will say one thing, okay? I have invited them onto the stream. That means by extension, they are my guests. And because they are my guests, I will be speaking to them in a way that I would not speak to just the way when regular callers call in. I'm harsher. Because they're my guests, I invited them and I expect the same from you. That same level of respect, because now they're my guests. I'm bringing them on. I invited them on. So just bear that in mind. I will open up the lines and you will be able to have those conversations and get those clarifications that you're looking for yourself.
Or whatever it may be. And imagine and put yourself in a perspective where, like Mahdi said, is that they are the provider, the sole provider.
You don't have to sort of say that to me. I'm quite old school and traditional, but I do see most points. I personally don't find it attractive to see a man doing certain things like that. And I think one-to-one, we can, negotiate. And he's got a heart. He had who I was with, who would automatically know if I was tired and would help out with the children, with whatever. But most Muslim families, at the end of the day, it's usually the women that would just automatically, whether it's segregation in talking, or even when we're together, or even helping out in the kitchen, or the women are together. Not that it's our job, but this is how we brought up. And I don't like it when women are like, well, they have to do this and they have to. I'm like, well, I don't know. It just doesn't feel attractive and masculine to me. And especially when I see a man in front of everyone, especially, you know, trying to do all of this, because I'm raising boys too. I want them to learn it as a skill so that if they need to, they should know how for themselves and to help their future wives, but not for them to be taken advantage of. And they also have to play their role.
Thank you. May Allah bless you. You know what? Little sister, that's what I say. Don't take advice.
You know what's interesting, yeah, is that sisters who have sons, I've noticed that they are more open to the type of stuff that we talk about on this side of the internet, because they don't want their sons to be taken advantage of by these savages that are out there. It's just something that I noticed. Sisters who have sons, they are more open to this idea. But Sister Fahima said something interesting, which is I find it unattractive, the thought or the idea or the visuals of seeing a man, you know, with his washing gloves on and his cleaning and all the rest of it. It's a put off.
From females in the perspective of they don't usually hide that. No, we like you, we like them seeing. No, you're brutally honest, and that's the reality. And this is one of the reasons we started the show. Understand us better. Look, she just spoke from her fitra. We don't like seeing that. This doesn't mean the husband can't come here and there, etc. And I said this before. Once my wife cooked roast, etc., invited my mum, my brother, etc., came, and I saw she was exhausted like this time. I said, you know what? I'll wash the dishes. Not you're telling me. She didn't come and say to me, well, after this, do this. No, I said, you know what? I want to.
Yeah.
And I can remember my mom's was very specific. No, I'll do it. I was like, Mom, I want to do it. Nobody's telling me to do it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But the point is about demanding, expecting, and coming from the individual. Yeah. Sister Ira, please, you've been quiet. Is there anything that you like?
I just want to
Please, if there's anything to say.
agree with what our sisters have said. And I think there's nothing wrong with helping, of course. I think marriage, when you get married, you're signing up for a full-time job, right? You have your job where you go out and you earn your money, etc. But when you come home, that's also a job. And it's wrong for you to come home and, I guess, have that expectation that everything will be served to you and you won't lift a finger, because we all have our off days. There's days where, you know, the husband can have more energy and maybe the wife doesn't. So it's using your own initiative to step in and chip in when you can. It shouldn't be demanded. And I think the biggest problem that we face is the way that we are asking of our partners to help out. I think women can be really demandful. And I think the way they're wording it is very incorrect. They'll almost like blackmail you or emotionally blackmail you in a way, like, you know, you don't care, you don't love me, have you not seen how much work I've been doing this, looking after kids, what have you done? And I think when you start to belittle a man, he will start to lose respect for you and vice versa. And then obviously that causes own problems later on in life. But I think it's, as I said, a marriage is a job. You both need to chip in when you can. You need to work together as a team, just as you would if you were in an office or, you know, doing your own business.
I also just quickly want to say, though, on the other hand, there are certain communities and cultures that do take advantage over women as well. So there is that culture, that background, that sort of, you know, South Asian sort of side of things, where whether she's working or not, whether she's at home or not, whatever, they do tend to just think that the woman is just only there for the house and that's it. And they do not contribute, even if the wife, like you mentioned, both are working and earning. It's just solely on her. And I see this a lot, you know, amongst my clients, which I've recently seen, the South Asian background, where it's just her job solely. And if she, you know, is tired or whatever, she's literally like the slave. And I do want to also highlight that for some of those women who are going through it. But generally, I want to basically serve, and I want a man to be a man, and I want them to actually, you know, be able to do what they do. And me.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? What did the sister say? I want to serve. And I know Sister Fahima got quite a bit of heat off the back of this podcast, and I'll allow her to explain, inshallah. She's got quite a bit of heat from the women insulting her for saying things like that. I want to serve. That's fitra, bro. That's fitra. It just came out. It just leaked out. I want to serve. It makes her happy. It makes a woman happy when she is serving a man she loves and respects. Don't deprive her of that. Make my food, woman. Clean the dishes. It's not complicated, bruv.
you do what I do, and I'm on point. I can manage all of it. So I think more women should be raised to be able to do that. And I find it really attractive if a man is.
The audience are seeing a different side to you today.
I think that's a very refreshing take, actually. Yeah. And I would actually say that, unfortunately, I think that modern Western society and feminism would actually try to shame you for what you've just said, just right there.
For sure.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
You'd be feminist, but just because I have a voice.
Shout out to the brother. Shout out to the brother. Absolutely right. They would shame her for saying something like that, and I believe they have as well. And inshallah, Sister Fahima will tell her side in a few moments. But absolutely, they would shame her. Do you know why? Because these modern women have gotten used to doing so little that this type of narrative is going to up the competition. It's like, woman, shut your mouth. Why are you saying rubbish like this? I'm doing nothing right now. If you start talking rubbish like this, the competition's going to go up, and it's going to be harder for me to please my man because I'm going to need to actually do something instead of just existing in the house like I currently am.
Voice, but actually they don't understand my context either.
Do you know what I mean? They try to call you a bad guy. And I think what's happening a lot as well is that I think a lot of women are actually just like you. I think they are inclined and they do want to serve. They do want a big, strong man to put them in their place, say, all right, love, now go do the dishes, boom, boom, boom. You're my little princess, boom, boom, boom.
I don't think any husband that I know tells their wife, go do the dishes.
Yeah, I'm kind of just putting it plainly right now, to be very honest with you.
Some of them, you have to.
Yeah, some of you have
The dynamics there.
Really?
But ultimately, and I think a lot of girls do want a man to be in control, to put them in their place, to be that type of character that they can look up to, like, oh, rah. But they're being shamed for it by other ideologies that aren't our own ideologies. And I think it all goes back to following the Quran and Sunnah at the end of the day, man. That's the perfect way and the only right way. Do you know what I mean?
Is there anything you want to add on, Shaquille? You've been silent. But if there is
do you know what it is? It might sound quite degrading or rude, yeah, but it's like,
think about it.
No. How comes whenever I talk, you feel I'm gonna say something mad?
Nah.
Every time I say something, you think I'm gonna say something mad. Listen, it's not that I don't mean it in I mean to everybody. Like these are issues that I just don't respectfully see myself having. So that's why I'm just quiet.
Why? What do you mean you don't see yourself having? What do you mean by that? Like
exceptional.
I just can't see myself debating the woman that I've met and I've now married her, and we're sitting down in the house after I've worked my ass off to be maybe the man that I am in the future, and I'm debating this woman saying, "Can you clean, please?" It's just something I wouldn't debate about. I wouldn't even. It's just. It's like it just goes without saying.
So
for
you're
me.
saying.
Shout out to Romero, by the way. That energy, and I spoke to him about this, or with him about this afterwards. That energy is infectious. It's like, because he can't see himself ever having that conversation, he will transmute that energy onto his woman or women, onto his wife or wives, automatically by default. They will sense it. They will pick up on it. No explanation needed. No caption required. They just get it. There's something about that energy, but that requires time crafting that energy. I remember once actually, Tate was asked on one of the Fresh and Fit podcasts. Somebody put a super chat in, and they were like, "There is a look in your eye, Tate. There's like a steely look in your eye. How do I get that look?" And he got really angry. He got really angry with that question, and his response was, "You see, you want me to give you some type of magic formula or whatever? It's not like that. You've got to go through stuff. You've got to do stuff to become that guy. And then you will become that guy."
You're saying, but
it's like her asking, like,
those days are over.
It's like her asking. I know those that, like,
the majority of men those days are.
Alhamdulillah, man ain't the majority then, bro. And it might sound arrogant, bro.
No.
Bro, alhamdulillah, man's not willing to be the majority.
You need to tell the secret to the brothers who are watching, because that's
to buy my course. No, but honestly, I know it might come across arrogant, and I promise you, I don't mean it with any arrogance. It's just like, I'm not gonna start talking about something like and get really passionate when I'm just not passionate about this topic. Like, it just
it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. It's like, for me, it's like a woman coming to me and saying, like you said earlier, like, Like, you know, you got to protect me if a man calls me a name on the street.
Exactly.
I'll be offended without even saying that to me.
Bro, but the
mean?
thing is,
Of course.
bro, this is what we're discussing today, bro. This is the reality we're dealing with. What you're saying is that it's a no-brainer.
And you know what? We're going to put a pin in it right there. I've got Sister Fahima backstage right now. I will be bringing her on shortly. We are going to take a quick intermission and then we will be back. Okay, and we are back, and I have both our guests backstage as we speak. Let me just shut this screen. And what I'm going to do is this, okay? I'm going to put the link in the chat right now for you guys to jump on, and I will bring you on after we have spoken with Sister Fahima and Sister Amira, inshallah ta'ala. So I have put the link in the chat, and I've pinned it as well. If the it gets full real quick, by the way, real quick, man, like Bills, I see you there, bruv. Don't worry, Bills, I'm bringing you on. I got you, boy. I got you. The back, it gets full real quick backstage. So if you are not permitted in, then try calling back again later, inshallah ta'ala. Sister Fahima and Sister Amira, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Sister Amira, assalamu alaikum. You're muted.
Assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Pleasure to have you both here. How are you sisters doing today?
Alhamdulillah.
Very well. Thank you for inviting us.
Of course. Oh, of course, alhamdulillah. Thank you for joining. The first question I want to ask both of you in turn actually is, since I know both of you have received hate for different reasons. It's so funny. Damned if you do and damned if you bloody don't. Either way, you're damned, right? I know you've both received your fair share of negativity. Talk to me about that. Sister Fahima, you can go first, inshallah.
Yeah, I'm actually quite used to it because I'm on various platforms. But to be honest, you know, when you're on a Muslim platform as a Muslim woman, generally people just really do judge you without realizing there's always a more context or backstory. And me personally, I don't just speak from my own personal experience. I speak because I speak for the voiceless, and I do talk about a lot of issues that a lot of women and men go through. So when I give my opinions, I'm really passionate. And when you're passionate, then you're regarded as a feminist. And if you're agreeing with the brother or anyone, then you are like, you know, doing a disjustice to the sisters. So you can't really win. And I'm not here to win, and I'm not here for everyone. And I've always said that. I'm just here to say my truth. And people were disappointed, thinking that I was actually very surprised that I actually agreed with you specifically, which it wasn't anything like that at all. I have my own traditional ways, and I don't actually share that a lot, but that's how I've been brought up. That's how I was even when I was married. I did not work for 10 years when I was married, and I only started afterwards because I was put in a situation that I had to. And I understand how people also, as women, become boss babes because they are afraid of, you know, being left, and they want to secure themselves. So that's why, you know, people thought I was contradicting myself. No, I'm not. I just know situations. I am entering people's homes, and I know when I have an insight, whereas most people, they're only talking from their own experience, and they're constantly being triggered. That's
So
the issue.
tell me about that then. What is it that you do then behind the scenes in terms of the work that you do with other people? Because I know you have a lot of exposure to different families and so on. Talk to us about that.
I'm qualified life coach and, you know, cognitive behavior therapist and NLP practitioner, so mental health practitioner. I'm actually doing my master's right now at the end of it in psychology and neuroscience of mental health at King's. And I've been studying human mind and behavior for the last 7 years, and I help people overcome their challenges professionally behind the scenes. And I also am a broadcaster, presenter, and producer on different channels on TV, whether it's Islamic TV from different sect, as well as on mainstream. So I do a lot of work generally in the community, and I also coach men, women from the community and outside the community. So I really do have a broad insight, and they're not just from the UK, they're also from abroad. So I see, you know, their mental health issues. I deal with a lot of relationship issues. I'm a certified relationship coach as well. So when I speak, I use psychological tools. I have been trained. A lot of people study psychology, but they haven't been trained. I'm a practitioner. I've had hundreds of hours of training in order to use the psychological tools. When some people go on there and say psychology doesn't work, it's because they haven't been trained. There's a difference.
You know, when I first saw you on the first couple of podcasts with Ali on Ali Dawah's Bit of Truth, honestly, I don't even remember what the conversations were about now. But I was like, this woman's a feminist, bruv. I really thought.
Yeah. Most people think that.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised.
Why would you think that? I'm really curious.
I can't remember because I can't remember what the conversation was about. I just remember the feeling.
Boss babes, because I'm really strong. Okay, I'm not like most women, and most women don't speak, and I speak passionately because I really have been through a lot myself, and I have seen others, and I now speak. And I'm quite eloquent in my speech, and I'm not afraid to talk on taboo, controversial topics, which I have addressed on channels which won't even normally allow, but on certain channels they have. So yeah, I get that, but I'm not speaking because, oh, I just want to be controversial. I see the problems that happen in households, and I address it. So people think, oh, it's my personal view. No, it's not all the time. So even if I'm standing up for certain women who are career women, I get why they're doing it, even though that's not me personally when I was married, right? So I come from very many different perspectives, and people don't get that. And it's fine if they don't get it, but this is a really good opportunity for them to understand that when people are speaking, you know, they do have their own background and their own history, but everyone wants to judge, and they want to, you know, basically talk about how I should be Islamic and have haya and all of that, but they'll do it in a very un-Islamic way and very judgmental as well.
Yeah, that is very true. Yani all the keyboard warriors come online. Sister Amira, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How has it been for you since the podcast come out? I saw somebody sent me a video from your TikTok page today that got like 600,000 views or something. So it seems to be, and it's circulating the discussions that we've had. Now, you were on the other side of the fence and you still got a whole bunch of hate. So talk to me about that.
I don't know actually if I got that much hate.
Okay.
But like I've seen the odd stupid comment about the free mixing. I would say that would probably be the most. But I'm just like, well, quit your job, because a lot of the people who go to work with women who probably don't wear hijab and all the other stuff. They're just being hypocrites, and there's rules and there's levels to free mixing.
Your mic is muffled. Your mic is muffled.
Sorry, let me take off my AirPods. I think that's probably why.
Yeah, it might be in the sky. Now, switch your Bluetooth off. Switch your Bluetooth off. Just disconnect your Bluetooth.
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay.
Much better.
So yeah, I
so
just look at the hypocrisy with that situation, especially because, you know, there's levels to free mixing, and obviously we live in the West. It's inevitable. Everybody is basically free mixing unless you're in your house like 24/7.
Well, I have a question for you, Sister Amira, and that question is, obviously, since we've had the discussions, yani, you've had time to reflect. Obviously, you realize that everything I said was right now, sir.
No.
so yeah, this comes as a surprise to me. Yani. How could you not have had this reflection? So what parts do you still disagree with?
Obviously, with the whole helping situation and things like that. Like, of course, I'm not a feminist. I'm not part of that movement. I don't believe in it. I'm very much a traditional wife and woman. I do believe in traditional values.
About to go mad. The chat's gonna go mad. They're gonna be like, what?
You know,
so okay, so you say you're traditional, so you cook and clean and all that stuff at home.
Absolutely.
So then you do agree with me then? You have had your moment of enlightenment.
I don't agree with you, because your point was you don't even want to know where the salt is.
Big man thing.
When even if your wife doesn't work and she's a stay-at-home mom. By the way, being a stay-at-home mom is not just a 40-hour week or 40-hour day. This is a 24/7.
I hear that. And that's why we need to put respect on the name. We need to put respect on that title. We need to put respect on the title of housewife.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's not an easy job, having to manage your children, look after them, cook for them, and honestly, the
waking up at night, babies waking up constantly.
Yeah, like it's never ending. The cleaning is never ending. So, you know, I just don't agree with the fact that you said, that you wouldn't help in the household if you are obviously the main breadwinner of the household. I just don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't want to know what the salt is. I want to walk into the kitchen and be like, what is this strange place? Where does the food come from?
But Mehdi, you did contradict yourself, because I think your one-liners, Mehdi, is probably controversial. But when you give it context, it makes sense. That's the problem. And you don't deliberately give that context because you do want a reaction for whatever reason.
Give me an example.
Well, when you even said that at the beginning, you did say, you know, of course, if my wife needs it and I'm going to help and I'm going to do it and all of that kind of stuff. So there was context. And I listen very carefully and I remember very carefully. But a lot of people, they pick and choose. But then you know, when people picked on one or two things that you say, which is one-liners, like, I just want to, you know, come home and I just, you know, don't want to hear about anything or pick, you know, don't want to even know what the salt is. I don't think that's the reality. I think that, you know, you're just saying it. But if the situation arises, like you mentioned before, then
no. Let me clarify. I mean it. I mean everything I say, but you know, there's an Arabic line of poetry, and it goes like this: وَكُلَّ مَحْظُورٍ مَعَ الضَّرُورَةِ بِقَدْرِ مَا تَحْتَاجُهُ الضَّرُورَةِ. And that, the translation is, and every prohibition has its a time when it must be broken, when the prohibition must be broken. بِقَدْرِ مَا تَحْتَاجُهُ الضَّرُورَةِ, according to, take as much from it as you need and no more. Let me give you an example. You're in the Amazon rainforest. You're starving to death. There's no food. Suddenly a wild boar comes in front of you. What are you going to do? Let that thing go? No, you're going to kill that thing and eat it. But it's a pig. Pig is haram. But you're starving to death. You're in the Amazon rainforest and there's nothing else for you to eat. From this line of poetry that I've just mentioned is a ruling that we can extract, which is every prohibition has its exception, and you take from it according to how much you need. Just take from what you need from it. Don't overdo it. Don't sit there feasting on pig. Do you understand? Like, you take from it what you need. How am I relating this to this discussion here is, yes, I don't want to know where the salt is. However, on occasion, if the need arises, my wife is ill or whatever, no problem.
That's what I mean.
I'll assist and take
Exactly
care.
what I mean. You know, this conversation, this whole topic for me was quite obvious. The fact that, you know, as humans, unless you have an issue with like mental health or something and you can't distinguish, you know, and have compassion and empathy. For me, it was very simple. I normally talk a lot, but I didn't. Obviously, it was the last episode that we did for the day. We were there all day. It was quite tiring. So people don't know the background. But at the same time, it was very simple and obvious that, you know, even someone like yourself, I think you would be reasonable in order to give the hand if it needs. But at the same time, you were talking that, you know, on a general note, that it's not necessarily expected. And I think a lot of women that work, automatically they work because they do want to contribute. They're not just working for the sake of it, because the household needs it. Right. So that's the other point as well that people didn't understand. And the way you said it, like, you know, she has to give. But I think that's a given. For me, a lot of the things that was said is a given. But, you know, we obviously went into it because today's society, when I said, oh, I don't find men attractive in that way, it's not because, oh, and everyone's like, oh, but the Prophet did it. And, you know, you're not just saying our Prophet, you know, or whatever. It wasn't about that. It's the fact that nowadays women have an expectation. They want to sit back and they want to see their man, you know, serve them. And there are occasions where that is great and that's nice, right? But I don't want to be in a setting with my family members around, and then I'm sitting and chatting, and my, you know, supposedly husband is going around and doing all of the dishes and carrying and hoovering or whatever. I'm the one I feel that should be doing it, and I'm the one that, you know, wants to do it. And I feel that if he's helping me because he needs, you know, he sees it or whatever. But nowadays women, it's like, oh, I'm just going to, and they make fun. Oh, look at my husband. He's doing this or he's doing that. So I was talking on an extreme sort of circumstance, which now is actually becoming more common. Because even when you watch reality shows and whatever, and especially in the West, you know, a lot of women, they're sitting back and the men is just like doing all the things. And I'm like, that's not what I find attractive. That's not what I want in a man. Okay.
Can you, in fact, actually before that, Sister Amira, do you find it unattractive if your husband participates in the household chores beyond what is needed? For example, you're not ill, you don't really need him to, but he's doing it as a regular thing. That's his thing. Is this something that you would find unattractive?
What I find unattractive is a man just being a bit too much. For example,
that's what I mean.
Trying to pick the bed sheets and color scheming and all of that color scheming stuff. Like, I don't need you to be doing that, but I actually do find it attractive when my husband wants to help me. I think it's so sweet. Like, and I think it makes my relationship feel stronger with him. And just going back to your point, Mehdi, about that poetry, I think that actually goes exactly with what my point is.
Go on.
Yeah. So there is this whole move of, you know, women age like milk or like rotten milk. How do you expect your wife to age?
Who said that?
Who said that? Who said that, Mehdi?
Who said that, man?
But how do you expect your wife to age beautifully if she's cooking and cleaning for 365 days of the year with no help, with no spa days, because
who said there's no spa days?
No,
who said that?
Mehdi, you might treat your wife to spa days and to pamper herself, but speaking to some men who really think that they should not help their wife, and then they get upset when their wife 20 years down the line.
Sister Amira, what's the fear? What's the fear? There is a fear here. What is it? What are you worried that men could do to women? There's a fear here. I want to get to the bottom of it. What is it?
I think it's not a fear. Yeah.
Or
but
concern then. Concern. What's the concern?
The concern is that some men who think like this, who think that their wife is the slave of the house, who cooks, who cleans, who looks after the kids, who is in constant state of a level of stress, yeah, because life is, we know in Islam there's a balance. Life is about enjoyment and taking what is from the life, from the world, and enjoying from it. But there is a level of just a usury, I want to say, where somebody abuses that power, where she's just cooking, cleaning, not taking care of herself, not giving her hairdresser days, not looking after her, not worrying about her mental well-being. And then they wonder why she is in a state of disarray 20 years down the line, and she's aged like Lebanon. Yeah.
Lebanon, guys, is off milk. It's literally
like
off milk. It's literally off milk.
So of course she's going to age that way, because she's not had enjoyment in life. I still want to look about 25 when I'm 40. Yeah. And I can't do that if I'm on the floors scrubbing.
I would actually disagree with you, Sister Amira. I would say to you, let me give you some gems here. You know the motion in, where's the camera, in scrubbing the floor, this motion, it strengthens the forearm muscle, the bicep muscle, and the shoulder muscle, and the back muscle, and all of this helps to all of this helps to tone the muscles, you see. So when a woman is, bismillah mashallah, scrubbing on the floor, this is good for the toning of her muscles. Equally, you know, the mopping the floor, for example, the mopping can be equated to some type of a variation of the deadlift. The deadlift is very important for the posterior chain and so on. My point here is cleaning and cooking and all of that is not going to aid you. Stress might, but cleaning the floor is not going to aid you. Sister Fahima, what do you think?
I understand what you're saying, and I get it. You know, I just think that, you know, sometimes the way things are come across is actually taken out of context. And, you know, we're talking about very, very menial things, and we're sort of like blowing it up, and that's why people are getting annoyed, because we're making it more than what it is. Because for me, but basically, I just find that women nowadays are not capable. That's why they're fighting that side of it, because they can't manage. No, they're not brought up even by their parents. And I train a lot of families, and I say,
Fahima, hold on, not capable of what?
Sorry, of managing a household. They're not brought up, you know, even nowadays, the youngsters, you know, they go into a marriage and they don't know how to maintain certain things. And my mom taught me, you know, how to cook, how to clean, how to maintain, how to keep clean, okay, how to make sure. And I can manage, and I can do so many things. And I do now a lot as a single mom. And I'm doing 101 things because I am organized. I'm managing. My house is on point. My car's on point. I'm on point. You don't even realize when I leave the house, I have cleaned everything. But I do actually do, and I can't afford a maid as well, once a week. So at the end of the day, what I do at the same time is I have, you know, I do have a standard, and I maintain that. And I want to look good, and I want to maintain myself as well. More importantly, for me, I don't have to be with somebody. And I hear a lot of women that if you're not with someone, they just lose interest, or if they're with someone for a long time, they lose interest. So, you know, in themselves. So I think when you take pride in who you are, you want to keep your home in order. You can manage your children. For me, having children was the most challenging thing, right? And I put them first. And I think that did create a bit of a rift between my ex and myself too. And I do take accountability for that, and I've learned through it. But at the same time, I do feel that, you know, there is a lot of pressure just for women to do everything. But at the same time, I can manage, and I can do a lot. And I feel that because I do it with pride. And I feel that for me is not a job. It's not a, you know, something like that. I just feel like at the end of the day, there's a certain role, and I know how men and women think. And I know psychology as well when it comes to, you know, how a man feels and what their desires are and what, you know, keeps them in a particular way. So you have to understand that no matter what, and we are changing so much in the roles, and we're trying to make, you know, people different, or, you know, make them equal, and they're not. Biologically, neurologically, scientifically, you know, physically, in every way, they are not. They think differently, they act differently, they have emotions which is different, and people are not understanding that. And I think those things are important. And when they are not brought up in the household to do that, that's why even marriages are also breaking, because they just expect it to come in there and the husband's going to have everything sorted for them, when actually you're the one that makes the home. You make the house a home. You keep it warm. You know, it's not the heating, it's you. And you may be able to do that as a woman. We have so much power as a woman, right? We have the charm, we can seduce. Honestly, if I knew, I have a tongue which is strong, but I know when I calm it down, I get exactly what I want, because I know how to use it with certain, you know, certain situations. And when you're married and when you're talking to a man, and how to be sweet and how to be passionate and how to be charming, and then also how to be strong when I'm at work, you know, to push them away. So, you know, that's my guard and that's my protection. But at the same time, you got to have all these kind of skills, and you got to know as a woman, we have a lot of power if we know how to use it.
No, right. That's the key word there. First of all, shout out to Barry, £5 super chat. Sister Fahima dropping facts. Appreciate you, my man, Barry. Absolutely right. You have a lot of power if you know how to use it. This is the key here. You see, you know, that feminine touch, that feminine superpower, the sweetness. Oh my days, literally, like, it's too much. But as soon as a woman starts moving mad with me, I just see a bloke in front of me at that point.
Exactly.
I just see a bloke. You understand? It's just a man, and you ain't getting nothing. But you know, you use that sweetness. Cry, woman, cry, and shed a tear.
We can get whatever we want.
But there's a thin line between emotional manipulation and, you know, because for me, my intention, I know some women who do this, like they genuinely use their femininity to kind of get their way and stuff like that. But for me personally, I've never had those intentions. I'm just myself. And I funnily enough, Mehdi, my mum and dad actually brought me up to learn to cook and to clean and to
So why were you so anti then? I had a feeling this was the case. Wallah, why were you so anti on the podcast?
No, because you were saying things that were wild. Yeah.
Like what? What was wild?
You were saying
your one-liners.
Like, yeah, your one-liners, like you don't even want to know where the salt is. You wouldn't help do your dishes. And if you do the dishes, then she has to take the bills for the week. And I
mean all of that. You know, let's give it context. When you were saying, you know, if you don't mind helping me out with the dishes and so on, yeah, of course, I'll help you out with the dishes. Can you help me out with the electric bill, please?
But that is not.
What's the problem? I don't see the issue.
That's not correct Islamically.
Tell me why. Go on. Tell me why.
My money is my money.
Hey,
if I give it to you, if I pay, it's from a gift. It's not my obligation to pay. So if you help me, that's you being a lovely, caring, compassionate husband. But for
yeah, go on. Please continue.
For you to say that if you help, you will basically tax me a bill, you know, every single time you've cleaned a fork. This is wrong.
Listen. I don't know if you were here for the beginning of the stream. I don't think you were, but I will actually I will elaborate. If you recall, we spoke on the podcast with regards to this exact discussion here, and you mentioned correctly just now, which is if I'm working as a woman, if a woman is working, a man has no right to forcibly take her money away from her, right? So he works, and he pays for everything. Would you agree with this premise?
So he works.
So he works, and she wants to work, but he is still required to pattern up the house and take care of the household stuff. Would you agree with that premise?
Islamically, yes, that is correct. Right. Can't disagree with it.
Right. So, and I would agree with you. There is the truth. You can't. And I would say to her, I would simply say to the woman, you know what? No problem. You have two options. Option A is the Tijani tax of 79%. And I'm trying to keep a straight face here. The Tijani tax goes as follows. If you voluntarily, of your own accord, happily agree to give me 79% of your wages, you could go to work, no problem. I got you. Habibti, I got you. But it must be voluntary, because I can't take it from you by force. If you don't agree to this, no problem as well. قعدي بالبيت روحي الطيبي. Go and make me some nice مقلوبة.
But like I said at the beginning, I don't think women are just going to work and then their money for themselves, even if it's Islamic. I think when both people are working, they're putting it towards that home, that family, because they're both going to actually contribute.
Right,
and
because
they're
I'm
gonna
actually
it's for the family. When you get married, automatically it is just like that. You just have, you know, that sort of team, that alliance. It is not one or the other. I don't even think that's a conversation that most people will have, to be honest. Most women, like I said, are going to work because they want to contribute to have a better life for you, because you're not living separately, you're living together. When you're putting food on the table, it's not like I bought the shopping, so I'm going to eat from that. You bought it, so you're going to eat from that. No, it's for everyone. Okay, so that is just something that I just feel like, you know, just didn't even need to be elaborated on, really, because for me, it's just common sense.
Look, Sister Amira, I use satirical examples on purpose. I use satire on purpose. There's different ways you can debate and argue and so on. I prefer satire, especially with Muslims, because the Muslims are merciful towards one another. If I was dealing with non-Muslims, I'll adopt a different tact, right? But when I'm talking to Muslims, I like to try and find more amenable ways of highlighting what I'm trying to explain. And that is, now we have to remember, yeah, you, as you mentioned on the podcast, mashallah, Allahumma barik, your husband is he is an exception, not the rule, meaning he's a high earner. But the general mass of men, they're average. Yeah, most men are most men, as I mentioned on the pod, and therefore most households require at least 1.5 incomes, 2 incomes possibly. It's just the way it goes. My point is, if you are in this, unfortunately, it's a privilege now, but it is what it is. If you're in this privileged situation whereby your wife can afford to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mum, but she wants to work for herself, that's when the Tijani tax will come into play. And she must voluntarily agree to it. And if she doesn't agree to it, and remember, 79%. If she doesn't agree to 79%, no problem. You can stay at home and live for free. Why are you going to kill yourself?
So for me, anyway, like we're trying to build the empire. We don't want to have a certain lifestyle where, you know, I'm just at home, because we're both still young.
How many kids do you have?
2.
Okay.
And
how much time do they take from you? It's 2 kids still quite full on.
Yeah, it's very full on. I am on maternity leave at the moment, but previously I was working full time, and obviously I have the luxury to work from home. So I'm still able to mother the way I want to. I'm still able to cook and clean and, you know, do certain things around the house. I have that luxury. However, you know, and also that's another thing. A lot of men nowadays work from home. What are you doing? You're not on the street digging holes. You're not doing that. Majority of the men are working behind the computer. So realistically, if we're both at home, we're both working, we're both trying to build, you know, then I don't see why.
Yeah,
and of course, as a wife, we're trying to build together. So of course.
No. I'll build the empire and you build my dinner. We're building together.
I think there's different types of women. I think some nowadays the women, you know, they don't mind the extra hand, and most men, you know, are willing to help. But I think, you know, I'm probably a bit older than you guys, and I probably feel, or maybe just come from a different culture where, to be honest, you know, my family is more about, you know, even if we're very liberal, it's more about the women in the kitchen doing what we need to do. And I don't want anyone to touch anything in the kitchen because I like it my way. So if anyone wants to help me, I'm like, no. Even if my friends come around as women, I'm like, don't touch anything because I do it my way. I want to clean my way, because if you clean it, I'm going to go on and clean it again because it's my way. So it's the same, like, you know, how I feel like when I was married, it was like that, because I want to do it my way. And I think a lot of women actually may struggle because they even want to do everything and take on everything. And I had that issue where I wanted to look after my kids my way. I wanted to do the household my way. And at the end of the day, some men want to help, and they should help if they wanted to. But at the same time, I just think it's just different types of women, different strokes for different folks. And I think that women nowadays are quite happy to sit back and have a man do certain things. And the man now is expected to be that way, and it is changing. And I just think that sometimes it takes away a little bit of that masculinity of being, you know, in the household, doing those kinds of things, in my opinion. And I may be wrong, but that's me. I have my opinion and I have my right. But if you're the kind of woman that wants that and you're the husband that wants that, good for you. And it works for you. I'm quite old school. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Go on.
You know, I do think, you know, there are obviously exceptions and there are situations and things change, but realistically, like,
here's the thing, Sister Amira, is that on the podcast, yeah, it came off, and maybe this was because of the way I was speaking, it sort of like, it was like a gripe that you wanted to, like an aggravation. But by the sounds of it, you are traditional. You do take care of the house. You do serve your husband and so on and so forth. So you are that part. You are that type of wife anyway.
yeah, I am. But again, like, I just don't like the whole narrative, and it could be a cultural difference as well, because my dad was a Senegalese man, you know, Senegalese and Ivorian. They cook. The men in that tradition cook. In Jamaica, the men cook. They're one of the best chefs, you know, and it doesn't make them less masculine to
My dad cooked, but he never cooked for us. He did it differently,
you know, and it's like, you know, every culture has their different norms.
Yeah.
So maybe, and then obviously I do have my Moroccan side where, you know, men can cook, probably will cook, but not really. They wouldn't really do that. So there are cultural differences here.
I think it's the culture difference. Like I said, I was brought up by my biological dad half my life, okay? And he was able to cook, he could cook, but it was all on my mum. Then they got divorced, and then I was brought up halfway through an English man, and half Australian, half English. And he was very hands-on, and I just found that odd. And my mom took advantage because she just was obviously served all the time, and I just found that weird. But at the same time, you know, it was just a different house. So I've been brought up with both, and I see how it can work. But at the same time, I just found it strange because, you know, that's not how I was brought up, you know, half the time. So it's not because I'm thinking less or more of any man, but I just didn't think it was, you know, the way to be, because I looked up to my dad in a particular way. And then, you know, he was lovely. My stepdad, I'm still very close to him, but it's just a different feeling.
Tayyib, so I have questions for both of you, okay? Both Sister Amira and Sister Fahima. In fact, Sister Amira, because you're Gen Z, basically. I believe you're Gen Z. Yeah, I think you are you not Gen Z?
Millennial? Yeah.
Well, you're back end of millennial. You're basically the bridge between millennial and Gen Z. Considering
I'm the beginning of millennial.
Millennial, right?
Yeah.
So considering that you are a traditional woman, this irrespective of what we spoke about, that you are actually that person anyway, what advice would you have to the young girls who are in your age demographic looking to get married with regards to sustaining a happy, healthy home? Because you're married yourself.
Yeah, so for me, I love everything femininity. I grew up quite tomboyish. I used to, you know, fight in school, just typical East London, you know, type of thing. But I love femininity. I grew up around oud and perfume, and just obviously Moroccans, the way we clean is just very much, you know, deep cleaning. So I love my house to look a certain way. And, you know, just taking that, for me, it's fun. You know, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy cleaning around the house. I love to cook. I love recipes, the whole shebang. And then looking after myself as well. I love perfumes. I do wear makeup. and I look after myself. I'm not just going to let myself completely go. Obviously, when you get married and you have children, I feel like there is an agenda here.
What tips? Let me be more specific, Sister Amira. What tips do you have for young sisters who are approaching the idea of marriage for keeping a home peaceful? And I'm being specific now between you and the husband. Okay. How do you keep the house nice and peaceful between you and your husband?
So firstly, I was going to say, I think there is an agenda that, and social media is doing a really good job of making marriage look like an absolute task and just making it look not desirable. But marriage is desirable if you pick the right person and you and your partner are friends. So a rule that me and my husband created before we got married was we just never want to shout at each other. No shouting, no obviously we can have a disagreement or whatever, but to communicate and to talk to one another in a way which is respectful and not using profanities. So no shouting, sitting down and speaking through our issues, watching beneficial things. We read books, and we talk about them. There's so much to do. Your husband or your wife is your friend first and foremost, and is half of your deen. It doesn't need to be boring, it doesn't need to be boring. You could spice up your marriage, go on dates, like the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to do. He would go on walks with his wives, laugh with his wives. The banter is endless with me and my husband. We're always up, alhamdulillah, so marriage doesn't need to be boring. Just find the right person for you. And obviously understand that there are gender roles here,
So you believe in gender roles then?
Absolutely, I do believe.
So you admit then, that I was right all along, and you have to accept it. You have to
You was not fully right.
I was mainly right.
No, not at all.
What do you mean not at all?
No,
we're agreeing now.
We have to say, okay, Mehdi, you have to admit, that if your wives, I'm not sure if they're personally not working and they are at home, and you do the brunt of the work, you do help your wives. You have to let these toxic guys who may be watching you know that you can be masculine, you can be strong, you can be powerful, you can be all of those things, and you could be the main breadwinner, but you can still also help your wife. That has to be really clear.
There's something to be said about this, is that some woman, some sister, I don't even know who she is, if she's a sister or not, but she's messaged me on Instagram. She said to me, "You're dangerous," and I said to her, when I get troll messages, I troll back. I said, "You're right." She said to me, "No, your message is good, but it can be taken out of context." And I really thought about that, and I was like, you know what? She does have a good point, especially in the age of the TikToks and YouTube shorts. I said to my team who take care of my shorts, because they just chop up my long form content into short. I said, "Bruv, I would hate me if I came across my content. What is this?" But obviously, they chop it up in a way to work the algorithm. It is what it is. It is what it is. And that's why I implore, why so many people got the wrong end of the stick with Andrew Tate, brother Tate, is because they have consumed most of what they know about him is from a 15-second clip of him saying something that has been taken massively out of context. So yes, it's a double-edged sword, and that's the thing with social media. And people think I'm an oppressor of some sort. It's actually quite funny, and this is funny because when I chat with
that, I believe that you do the dishes. Like I was trolling.
Sister Amira said this on the podcast, and I was like, "Sister Amira, how can you expose me like this?" And I'm gonna say, you can't expose me like this, all right? Secretly, I'm wearing an apron and I'm cooking, and I'm oppressed.
Because I don't believe for a second that a woman in a condition where she's just completely not happy would stay. So clearly, your wife or your wives are happy.
They're very happy, and they're very happy that I don't know where the salt is. And I'm not just trolling, I'm serious. I'm deadly serious. Ain't washing nothing.
Well, so
Why
is
would
God
I?
do anyway.
Why would I do that? But listen, the exception though. Let's say she's sick, someone's sick, and no one else is at home, and something needs to be done. No problem. No problem. It's not an issue. No problem. But by and large, for the most part, no. Astaghfirullah. It gives me the ick. No.
Do you know, I'm in the middle, and I actually feel like it's kind of like in between the two of you in a lot of ways, because you don't want to admit, Mehdi, that you are a certain way to a certain extent, because you don't want to expose yourself to that extent. Or, you know, and then Sister Amira as well, you are, you know, someone who's traditional, but you don't want to say it because you don't want to hurt those women that are being oppressed or they are taken advantage of. And I'm here in the middle being real to say, you know what, at the end of the day, just like when someone is going to come and, you know, ask for your hand, you don't expect him to walk in with a tray. It's the woman that's walking in with the tray. There are gender roles. It is the way it is. And it's just the, you know, how we got to say it. And in this society, we've been cancelled for not saying certain things, and we're too scared to put things out there for what it really is.
A lot of men approach relationships with fear. I have noticed it.
Absolutely.
But
they are scared.
And I know I deal with those extreme situations. I know those women that, especially like I mentioned, from certain communities, they are totally taken advantage of, and men are totally, you know, unacceptable in the way in which they treat them, because they marry them for literally like maids, and those cultures still exist. And I do know that, and I get that, right? But we're not talking about those extremes. We're talking about everyday people that are just coming across to say that, you know, men should do this and women shouldn't do that. And I'm sorry, but for me, you know, I want to be feminine and I want to carry myself in a particular way. And I know a man's mind. And, you know, obviously we know women's mind as well, even if we don't want to admit it. If, for example, she's struggling or whatever, if, you know, he opens the door, even if I can open it, it's a gentleman thing. You know, I like that. If he wants to, you know, take control and be someone who is like, you know, leading the way, please do it. I wish I could find more masculine men like that. Where are those alpha men nowadays? That's the problem. Because they're so scared because of women that are not, you know, scared to speak, to say, you know what, these men should be. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity unless it's abusive or anything like that. There's nothing wrong in showing your strength because you have it. There's nothing wrong in showing the dominance or the leadership because, you know, you have that role to play. And I don't mind walking behind you because at the end of the day, it's nothing wrong with that at all. It doesn't make me any less. That's the problem. We're not talking in the way, because we're so used to this Western way in society, when actually it's not Islamic. You know, we're used to that way, which is actually Islamic doesn't even show much. And I only learned this even after my divorce, thinking that, you know, it has to be in a particular way. And I have changed so much because I've had to go through the adversity and had to look back and even hold myself accountable for certain things. So, you know, you have to go through self-development. You really have to understand psychology, human behavior, and you need to know. And when it comes to advising women today, I would say, know your values, know your deen, and at the end of the day, know a man's mind and know your mind. And, you know, you come with respect and you come with friendship and commitment, and you make sure you go with integrity, right? And integrity is you have that behavior and your word matches. And you've got to be strong.
Like, this is something I have been spitting for years. Like, when it comes to cleanliness, firstly, you know, have a saying in Morocco, yeah, it's like when girls go outside and they appear beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You see their room, and you see what is going on. Yeah. It's a complete madness.
It's like snot.
Like that. Yeah. So I have been saying this for years. People need to learn to clean. I have a lot of, and the thing is, Mehdi, you kind of talk about this a lot, about this women being feminine. Some of these women are like, yes, feminine. They can't even pick up properly stuff and hoover under the sofa. And then you're talking about feminine. Like, you
preach, man, preach, spit.
But then end up with a woman who cannot even do stuff, cannot even clean the house, you know? So it's like Fahima said, it's a double-edged sword.
Tamam, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on some of the callers, inshallah ta'ala. They have questions to ask, and we're going to start with our good brother, Bilal.
Assalamu alaikum, Mahdi.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Fahima and Amira.
Alaikum assalam.
Thank you. Yeah, I just think that sometimes there's a time to sometimes men should humble themselves. Like if I was to get married, I don't think that I would have the right to ask my wife.
Don't let the team down, bro. Listen, Bilal, I'll just put you on, bro. Don't let the team down, for crying out loud.
Sorry?
Don't let the team down, bro.
Oh, okay, sorry. I don't think. I think that I should, like, if I was to get married, I think I should do the help with the chores as well. And that we should do it 50-50.
That's the modern day mindset. That's what you've been conditioned now, because you're too scared and you think that, you know what, your wife, you know, you can't talk to her in that way and then speak in that way. That's what's happening nowadays. Seriously, that's what it is. That's the typical thing that is now. You feel you can't do that. So then when you go and visit her, are you going to be expected to come there with the tray then, you know, because you don't want her to do that? Come on, it's just a visual thing as well. Okay, you're saying that, and women are playing on that even more. And like I said, we are powerful. We can be manipulative.
Bilal, come. Hold on. I want you to build on that in a second, Fahima, Sister Fahima. We can be manipulative. Hold on 1 second. Come closer, Bilal. Come closer.
Oh, you're gonna be a slap again. Go away, man. You're not giving me a slap.
I've given it to you, bro.
Slap again, mate.
You can go back now. Sister Fahima, you said something just now that women can be manipulative. Please build on that.
Yeah, because they can take advantage over the fact that, you know, you're not actually, you know, bringing it as a man. And they're like, okay, you know, we're going to get married and, you know, you're going to be doing this, that, and the other. And I see a lot of women, they taking advantage of that, where the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, they are building men who are less manly because they feel that at the end of the day that they are going to be scared of, you know, speaking their truth. I bet you only saying that is because of what's around you. And these women are like, they're, you know, whatever. I mean, I just can visualize it. You know, these women coming across like, you know, to say that, you know, you have to serve me and you have to do this for me and you got to do all of this. Like, you know, I don't know why, but Love Island comes to mind, and I don't really watch it, but I've seen clips of it. And I just find it so revolting that, you know, they sat around and then they have to, like, the men have to, like, you know, come, and we are learning from this. And today's society, as much as they don't want to admit it, they're learning from this reality shows that, you know what, you know, the women now have to sit and the man has to do the breadwinner as well as serve in the house. And, you know, it's like, leave it to the men. It's really switching. We have to be very, very careful. It's switching completely. Why do you feel that you cannot open these conversations? Why? When I hear about marriages, why can't you feel that? Because you're scared that, you know, you're going to come across as too manly? What is it?
Not because I feel that I'm going to come across as too manly, just because I feel that it's unfair on the woman. I feel it's unfair.
Why is it unfair, Bills? Go on.
Because the woman should only do the. I think if it depends. Like if the woman is working as well and I'm working, then we should do the chores 50-50, isn't it?
It can never be 50-50 because a woman, you know, at the end of the day, just automatically will do more because, you know, she can take care a little bit more. And that's why I see when men are like, you know, in the house, and I've got clients, and the reason why I'm saying this because I've got clients who are beat up by their women and they're still staying nowadays. And that's why I'm getting really passionate about this, because at the end of the day, seriously, you know, in our community, you have no idea what's going on. And the more you are sort of like, you know, saying that, yeah, okay, fair enough, you want to help and you want to contribute and it has to be fair and it's got to be respectful, but you should not lower yourself to, you know, have certain things in place, because when there's a problem, she's not the one that's going to be running. You're the one that's going to be running out there and doing certain things. Okay, so it doesn't work in that way.
Cleaning or doing the chores is never lowering themselves. I don't think men are lowering themselves when they help with the chores or want to help, for example.
I'm not saying that it's lowering themselves, but when they're taking control of it, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I agree.
That's what I mean. I obviously... Every man should help and should contribute. But when I hear this, it means like as if they are now also taking control of the finances and they're taking control of the household chores, when I want to be the one to, you know, build that warmth in the house. Like I said, I'm the woman that brings that sort of like, you know, that homeliness to the house. Even, you know, the mother that gives to their children is so different to what a father gives to the child. The next thing is like, no, you just take the baby and I'm going to work. And this is what we're also seeing, you know?
But Fahima, I think when a couple
Sister
move,
Fahima, if you got headphones in, I think it's scraping against your scarf and there's
Okay,
feedback.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's because I'm moving.
A couple move into a property together, yeah, and they've just moved into a nice property. They're both excited. It's all fresh, it's all new, and they want to clean together, you know, and the man is taking joy in it. It's not, it doesn't,
I don't know which man that cleans together. I don't know who that is.
No, a man and woman can often clean together, especially if it's a new house and they're moving in, and you know, it's excitable.
If he's taking joy in it, he's
he
not
might
taking...
be painting and she might be doing something else. That I can understand.
Yeah,
but
painting,
you know,
just setting up the house in general.
Absolutely, I went through that too. But I still think that we can't mix the roles, because you know we have got a problem when I see, you know, men and women and the gender roles. I really do see that as a problem.
In terms of like cleaning is a woman's sole role. It doesn't have to be,
not.
You know, like it doesn't have to be her sole role. And because we have many.
It's not her sole role, Sister Amira. No, I agree with you. It's not her sole role. It's just her main role.
It's not her main role. Her main role is to be.
I think that's a bit sexist, to be honest.
Go on, Bilal. It's a bit sexist. How?
It's
Tell
a bit
me how.
sexist because I think women are perfectly capable of going to work as well. You know,
they can do it all. I do it all. That's what I'm trying to say.
I didn't say they're not capable of doing it. I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, women can do most things.
I do it all, basically. Okay.
Can I ask you a question, Sister Fahima? Let me ask you a question. Do you want to do it all? I know you have to right now, but if you had the choice, would you prefer to be
when
at
I was
home?
married, I didn't.
And so is it safe to say that your preference is to be at home?
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. But at the same time, even when I was at home, I did volunteer, I did study, I did do work. And if I had a job, then it would be where I would be with my kids first, because I know the influence. And I know so many mothers that are struggling because they chose the route of career and their children are suffering for it. Okay, so I see what happens behind the scenes. And they've chosen first time round to work. Second time round, they can't because their children are suffering psychologically for that. So there's a reason why I'm saying these things as well. Okay, because I deal with that. Okay, and you want to change and switch things around, fair enough, but there's consequences for it. And that is the next generation. What I can do as a mother, I'm sorry, no one can fill that role. And, you know, if you're going to delay the fact that you have to go to work because you're putting your kids first, if you look at my boys the way they are now, there is no way in hell that most women are doing what I'm doing, because I have got them in control because I was with them from the beginning 100%. And I gave them my attention. And I was the one that was the influence. And most people are struggling. They can't even get their kids to sit down.
I think that's a raising thing as well, though, because I was raised very strong. You know, I helped my parents with my siblings. I cleaned, I cooked. You know, my dad was.
But they were at home. They were at home. More women that are not at home cannot do that. And if they also, you know, a mother's nurture is so different, you know, to the upbringing and even the household. When I do something compared to another, it's so different. And I'm not saying men can't clean. They actually are better hairdressers. They actually do makeup now even better than most women. They can cook better. They do have the ability. No one's saying that they don't. But when you see them taking control and taking over, and then, you know, it's like as if to say like, you know, and then the women is out there more masculine. I just see that, you know what, it's a dangerous road to be going into. I've never said that they shouldn't contribute. My ex-husband contributed and he helped me and he was in the house and he did what he needed to do when needed. But I was in control of my house and I was the boss and I was the leader of my home. And I made the decisions of, you know, what needs to be in my house. And he just left it to me in that way. But now it's like, well, I'm just sitting back with my nails and, you know, and that's it or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at it from that way. And I think that young girls are not like that.
Oh, sorry.
Can I just say that I've had, my mum is a stay-at-home mum, and ever since she had me, and I really love my mum and I'm really appreciative for everything she's done for me. But there is one thing that my mum tells me this as well, is that I need to be more independent. And she says, my mom says that I should actually move out and you know, in the near future to become more independent and cook for myself, clean for myself, do laundry for myself and all this. And I think like soon I'm gonna move out.
Well, if you're going to go to education, I will teach my sons how to cook and clean and manage so that when they go to university, you know, in years to come, they'll be able to do it for themselves. Absolutely. It is definitely a skill for both men and women. And if they have future wives, then they can help out. But I don't want them to be the one that's solely doing it all and taking that, you know, on there completely. And I want them to be successful. If their wife needs the help, then they can afford it. But, you know, that's in an ideal world. But I just think that nowadays we are moving more to what you've just said, that, you know, you're too scared to put yourself forward in that way because women are becoming, you know, in that role of, okay, we are working and we are doing sort of things and, you know, and we are not actually wanting to even take control of the house. They don't want to take control of the house. That's
Bilal,
the problem. I want to take control of my home.
I'm gonna bring the next caller on, Bilal. My man.
Thank you, Mahdi. Thank you so much.
Bilal.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sorry, I didn't mean to have a go at you. I'm just saying.
Not at all. Ariash, you're up, my guy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you guys?
Alhamdulillah. How are you doing, akhi?
Alaikum salam.
I'm doing good, bro. Doing good.
What would you like? What would you like to post?
First, bro, shout out my guy Bilal, bro.
Shout out to Bilal. Man like Bilal. Make Bilal famous. Hashtag make Bilal famous. That's from last time. What would you like to pose to Sister Amira and Sister Fahima? Ariash.
Oh, bro, I actually had more of a question for you directly regarding this because I know that you got married at 16. Big man thing. Like how did
you know what? My parents facilitated that, bro. It's not even a big man thing. My parents facilitated that.
Oh, okay.
I deserve no credit for that. None at all. I told them I've basically fallen in love with this girl in college, right? And I want to marry her. This is literally it. And for the audience, by the way, the reason why I used the word marriage is because she was wearing hijab and abaya. That's why I took her seriously. But that was my parents. That was my parents, bro. My parents took care of all of that. So there's no big man thing there.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, but like, you know how you would have set that dynamic when you weren't at your peak SMV? How did you go about setting that dynamic from day one?
This is a question. This is a question for another time, my man. We're gonna keep it on topic for now, inshallah ta'ala. You can come on next time, inshallah, and ask that. Sharp, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. What would you like to add to the discussion, akhi?
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. How's it going?
Alhamdulillah, how you doing, my man?
Alhamdulillah. I overheard Sister Amira say that her and her husband have agreed that no one shouts or raises their voice. I don't agree with that because when I go overseas to see my family, the men that aren't affected by social media and all this like modernism are extremely aggressive and they yell and they're loud, right? And the females are really soft and they tend to just listen to their husband. So if I was in that position and my wife told me that, I'd feel like my manhood would be stripped, that I can't raise my voice. My dad will come home and he'll yell my mom's name and the whole entire house would jump.
Let's clarify that. I mean, in disputes. So if we have a dispute, we do not shout at each other. Okay. So as a respect thing, I will not raise my voice to my husband and he will not shout at me either. We can talk. We're human beings.
Well, what about yielding? Let's just say he did raise his voice for whatever reason, whether he's right or wrong. Are you in the stance that you have to yield as a female and address it later respectfully?
Absolutely. I would just, I don't know how to answer that because, he's not somebody who yells at me. Like, I wouldn't see what I would do for my husband to be screaming and shouting at me. I don't understand that.
I see. And Sister Fatima, if you don't mind.
Fahima. Yeah.
Sorry, Fahima. You mentioned that like when there's gatherings, a lot of females are usually all clumped up in the kitchen because that's just what they do, right? I think you mentioned you have a son. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have 2 boys. Yeah.
Okay, you have 2 boys. Allah yahfadhum. Yeah, and I agree with Mehdi when you mentioned that like a lot of females that have sons, they don't want their sons to be taken advantage of. I just don't see how women are expecting their husbands to help out when like naturally growing up, I never had to do anything, right? I mean, yeah, I had 4 sisters. I never made my bed, to be honest. I don't know if that's like a positive thing, but I was like basically spoiled.
It's not a positive thing. There's a book called Make Your Bed. I come from a psychological point of view.
Well, my mom never let me do anything, to be honest. But to get to my point, when it comes to your sons, right? Would you want your son to have that weakness in his personality where he feels as though he can't even tell his wife something without her getting upset, or like you mentioned, move forward or make certain boundaries and address certain things? You know, how do we address that when
That's exactly what I said. I said they should be able to have uncomfortable conversations. He should be able to say certain things. I give premarital coaching and I address that you need to talk about these things. I was just saying when the other guy came on at the beginning that why does he feel he cannot say these things? I said you should talk about it. You should say what is your role, what is your values, what is your expectations. I'm saying the exact thing like that. And I want my children to be able to know the difference of, you know, helping and having the skill to do all of that, you know. But at the end of the day, when we are when we are all just me and them, they help out, they do everything. I'm like, you know, do your own dishes, clean up after yourself, because they need to take care of themselves. They make their own beds. They know how to. I want to teach them when they get older how to cook and how to look after themselves and clean up for their own self, so that they don't need to rely on a wife, but the wife should be there at the same time to be able to maintain it. So they both have to have that independent way of being as a man, but having those skills. The woman has to be independent as being a woman, but having skills. And when they come together, it should be something which is a natural given. That's what I'm trying to say. Not to take away from each other's, you know, roles, and not to be selfish, not to be manipulative. It should be where they come together with those values because they know it and they can see it and sense it without even realizing. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Sharp, can I ask you a question? Are you Arab?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can see why, if you have an Arab background, why you were spoilt like that, because my brother was a little spoilt like that, a little bit, because obviously he's
Sister Amira, Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, 1 second. I apologize. I was muted. Sister Fahima, if you don't mind, could you just remove your headphones, please, because it's making a jarring sound. Yeah, sorry, Amira. Please continue.
Yeah, so I can see that, but again, as Muslims, you know, it is a sunnah to make your bed in the morning. You know, it is a sunnah, so you should have that good practices to make your bed. Why not? What's the problem with that? You know, and I think this is why there are, like, you know, and I'm telling you, there is a huge issue with certain cultures where they really spoil the sons so much, and it's actually affecting boys nowadays more, because I've seen it myself in East London, West London, London in general. You have boys who are less disciplined, no respect. Yeah, they're roaming around the streets because they've not had a certain level of discipline in their lives. My dad was so harsh on me. Yeah, he disciplined me very well, and it was a strict house life. But when you look at the boys today, they don't have that. They don't have that militant upbringing. How can you not make your bed in the morning? That is not. And I don't want to direct this at you. There are a lot of guys out here who do not make their beds in the morning. And to me, if I had a son, if Allah had blessed me with a son, yeah, I would raise him in a way where you are having a military lifestyle at home, because I don't want my son to be out in the streets of London, disrespectful, roaming around, whatless. Yeah, you have a lot of degenerate boys out here today because they never had a strong upbringing. So yeah, like, boys need more discipline, more discipline.
So what you're saying is, go on, Sharp. Please respond to that. Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you generally, but just to comment on the whole making my bed thing, my mom spoiled me, right? And yeah, it is a sunnah. However, it's wajib to listen to what she wants you to do. So she made sure that the little things, such as keeping after myself in my bed, that she made my sisters do it. But when it came to, for example, shopping or lifting things or doing things that required more of, I guess, a manly task, then obviously as a single son, I had to do all that. So I think that, again, generally speaking, what you said was true. But again, she liked to spoil me. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because it set the standard, right? That the female does certain things and the male does certain things. And Mehdi speaks about this. I'm not sure which video it was, but basically, like, I'm on my task, right? I'm on my next project. I'm on my next thing. If I have to worry about the food being late or not having clothes or making my bed, again, not specifically the bed, but just like these little tasks, it's going to take away from my main objective and focus, right? Like sometimes I come home and the food might be 15 minutes late and then I'm late for my meeting. So now I'm grouchy. Or maybe when I come home at night, certain things aren't the way that I want them. Yeah, I'm newly married, but again, generally speaking, there's more important things such as, you know, going out with my father when I was younger and him teaching me how to communicate with men and how to be respectful and so on and so forth. But yeah, of course, I mean, I think the issue with these boys that you mentioned, and I don't know if you said walletless. I don't know if that's a UK term.
Wallet.
What is that?
A wallet is what would you guys call it?
Whatless,
Oh, whatless.
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, what's whatless mean?
Just being whatless, useless, just
Oh,
roaming.
okay, yeah, sure. I mean, I think kids or men need to be introduced to like how they can be I guess how do you say it, self-disciplined to have their own business, right? Because these days, generally speaking, I mean, you shouldn't have to work for anyone, and if you are, you can make it on your own. That type of money. But yeah, I mean, the social media and everything that's going on, you can't prevent that on a general basis, but you specifically can, right? And you said your dad was hard on you. My dad was hard on my sisters too. They were like tomboys. They used to help him out more than I did, again, with little tasks. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it affected me. I think that because when my dad came home, like I mentioned, he'd be like, he'd call my mom's name and we all shake, right? We just had like this haiba and this fear of my father. You know, when he came home, the food was on point, on time, every time, no issues. My dad would yell, you know, raise his voice. My mom was mad silent, and obviously it wasn't disrespectful, but like even now I just had a son, and he's like 2 months. But when I walk in the room and I yell his name, he's different. He's like, and he's only 2 months, right? And I always tell my wife this is the importance of having that balance of feminine and masculine energy with the men or the kids in general. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said.
I think if you're raised in that way, then you're going to expect a wife in a particular way as well, because you know she'd want to, you know, that's what I'm hearing from what I'm hearing. I have Afghani roots, and I was married to an Iraqi. He's very much part of my boys' life still, so they do have them, and I did that deliberately because I know exactly what they need. We do co-parent very well. But he was, you know, brought up in the typical way where, you know, it was all the women that did everything. And I was brought up in a way where my parents were strong with me as well. And I only have a younger sister. I don't have any boys in the family, but I know the boys in our family are exactly the same, where they don't do things. And I want to give the balance to my boys where they can do things for themselves, because I just think that, you know, it just keeps them independent. And I don't want them to feel that if one day they even have an argument with their wife that they can't cook for themselves if she's annoyed, whatever it may be, or she, you know, they go to university. And also psychologically, if you clean and make your bed and you're disciplined, then in life you are successful. So I've learned in that way. So the culture does not help you to be successful. It's not about, it takes away from you going and seeing your dad or whatever. You can do it all. It takes two minutes to be able to do that. It's just about your own self. So I bring up my boys very differently, where I can spoil them, but I spoil them in different ways. And if I discipline them, I discipline them with love and compassion. So I'm quite tough with them because I'm mainly with them and they're not with their dad majority of the time. So yeah, I do come across strong because I had to be that way. And I'm also passionate because I speak, because I see other people's households, how they're suffering. And I definitely don't believe that what I'm saying is wrong, in the fact that, you know, men and women do have different roles, and we need to highlight that a lot more, because I think we're so much scared of being cancelled, and this modern way of thinking is just bringing less and less masculine men into society.
Mahdi, before I go, Mahdi, if I'm annoyed, there's no food. If I'm annoyed, there's no electricity. If I'm annoyed, there's nothing going on. You can't say I'm annoyed and I'm not going to cook for you. That's not an option in my household. What if I said, listen, I'm annoyed. You know what? Don't wear those clothes I bought you. How would you respond to that? What are you going to tell your daughter?
Bro,
don't cook. No, you have to cook.
حب ولا تكره. حب ولا تكره.
Listen,
love
it's not an
it or
option.
hate it, bro. Do you understand? Amira, you speak Arabic. Do you understand? Just اصبروا أو لا تصبروا. Be patient or don't be patient. Doesn't matter. So I'm gonna bring on the next caller, my man. I appreciate you coming up here. Shukran, akhi. Assalamu alaikum. Vijayta, I'll bring you on next. But Sister Fahima, I wanted to just ask you, touch on something you just said there. Yeah, are you finding, because I'm presuming you're basically exploring the marriage market? Am I correct in saying that, first of all, before I make a
I haven't looked. I don't chase, I attract. I don't know, whatever.
But you just said, though, that there is a lack of quote unquote masculine men. Build on that for me before I bring on the next caller.
Yeah, I just find they're not taking control. They're not exactly able to stand up, be strong, and even have conversations to match my mindset. I just feel that they're quite scared to even have difficult conversations and to address certain things. You know, I just feel they're very, very. Sorry.
No, I got it. I understand. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's horses for courses.
And they don't, and they're just not up to their work. Even like when I mentioned in the podcast, I'm like, why don't you speak up? It's like, oh, because we're scared we're going to be cancelled, or you know, we're going to get talked about as being misogynistic and things like that. I'm like, well, you need to speak. If I just kept my mouth shut all the time, I wouldn't be raising a lot of awareness. I don't follow the crowd. I don't really do that. I am outside the norm. Only because I know that there's less and less voices that are speaking the way I'm speaking, because it is now becoming to take over the fact that women shouldn't be speaking and being proud of wanting to be in the house and being okay to, you know, to serve and to be in that way and to actually, you know, look up to a man. There's nothing wrong in that. It doesn't make me any less of a female, you know, because I can do it all. That's how I feel.
Wave of men who are not masculine because they lack discipline, and I think that's the truth. There are a wave of degenerate men which you see, like when I can't even imagine my father or my husband sitting under a comment section commenting on the way women look, commenting on really futile things. To me, that is not somebody who is manly. Sorry if you can hear my baby in the background. I'm doing my motherly duties.
You do that. I'm gonna bring on Vijayta real quick. Vijayta, go shoot. Assalamu alaikum, akhi.
Yo, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, akhi. What would you like to add to the discussion, bro? Tfaddal.
Brother, you know when you got women on the same level as yourself, giving these topics. I'm not talking about this.
Hold on. Before you continue, do you have a question you want to put forward to the sisters?
No, to you, brother.
Okay, but hold on a second. Yeah, before you make this stream super awkward, think before you connect this to this. If it's something you want to talk about that's techie and technical, email me, bro. Email me. Don't make the stream awkward right now. Yeah.
I'll email.
Abu K, salaam alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on, Akh?
Alhamdulillah. Okay, how you doing? All right.
Alhamdulillah. What would you like to add to the discussion, Akhi?
I wanted to comment on Sister Amira, what she said in that podcast. I got a few things to say.
Go on.
Well, the first thing is, the brother who was sitting next to you, Mahdi, with the black thobe, I think he just, in one or two lines, he summed it up.
He did.
He said that, I mean, roughly he said something like, I don't even find myself in this situation, having this argument, whatever. I mean, I don't even know really why this was one of the topics. It's not even a question. The second thing was that, and this is, I want to like focus now on Sister Amira. The second thing is that, Sister Amira, you said a few things, and you came across like some of the language you used was very inflammatory, and I'm gonna
give examples.
Yeah, that's it. I've got examples, Mehdi. So you said your duty is placed upon you from Allah.
Yes.
My duty, and I think then someone interrupted, I think, and then you said no. Anyway, I don't think you got to finish your sentence. I don't know, but if you're talking about duties, okay, Sister Amira, okay, now look, we're living in the 21st century, okay. Now a lot of people, it's very easy to go to YouTube, okay, and type in any sheikh's name and type, okay. Now Asim Al-Hakim is many people view him as a balanced kind of middle path kind of guy. Okay, I just searched up 2 videos of his. Okay, one was titled something like, "Does a wife have to cook for a husband?" And the other one was like, "Did the Prophet ﷺ do the dishes, mop the floor, laundry?" Something like 2 videos like this. Okay, now I'm just quoting the Sheikh. Now I'm just quoting him. Now he didn't actually give the full reference. I'm just quoting him. So he says, "The most authentic opinion is a woman is obliged to serve her husband and her children, and that is it." Then he goes on to say, the hadith of Asma bint Abi Bakr, who was married to Az-Zubair ibn Awam. She says, "I used to cater for Az-Zubair's horse, and I used to feed the horse and take care of him, and I would travel to bring him the necessary food and to take care of that horse." And then finally, he mentions another narration, hadith of Fatima, and this is actually quite relevant to what you said, Amira, to Mahdi. Hadith of Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, who used to work in the house until it affected the softness of her hands. So she went to the Prophet ﷺ seeking a slave to help her in the chores of the house. And the Prophet ﷺ did not tell her, I'm quoting the Sheikh here, the Prophet ﷺ did not tell her, "Why should you do this? You're not obliged to work." No. He told her, "I will teach you something. If you say it, it would be better for you than a servant."
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
One second. So I'm sorry if I can just finish and then. So
Okay.
what I'm saying, sister, is that's what I said. The very first thing I said was, this is not even a debate, okay? And really, with Mahdi, with all due respect to you and the other brothers, a sheikh could have finished it off in 1 minute, okay? It's not even a discussion to start off with, and that's the reality. Whether our sisters want to admit it or not, okay? Whether our wives want to admit it or not, it's not even a starter.
Have you just jumped on the stream now, bro?
No, I've been here. Mahdi, I've been waiting for this for like 5 days, bro. Okay. Now the last thing, Amira, I want to say is that some of the things that you said as well. Now you also mentioned, you used the word when the other brother said that he wanted to get married in Morocco. And
hold on, hold on. What do you want to address before you switch gears? What do you want to address, Sister Amira?
I just want to address his first points, okay? I understand what he's saying in regards to Tawri Zawjik, okay? Yes, we have to seek permission from our husbands, and we have to obey our husbands in those permissions, and so on and so forth. Now, the truth of the matter is, a man's duties are placed on him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Now, as a woman, whatever I do for my husband, okay, and these are hadiths, is a form of charity, and I get hasana from it. So I'm not saying women should not clean for their husbands. Women should not do this. However, when we are conflating the two and saying a woman is, in the example of what Mehdi said, will be taxed for just asking for help from her spouse, okay, this is where we have an issue.
You're taking me out of context now, Sister Amira. You're doing a TikTok
No.
short on me.
No, no, but I'm just saying, like that, the way I understood it on the show, okay?
Okay, Sister Amira, can I just intervene? The thing is, I think the issue here is that because I know the way you've just worded it there about brothers helping, but I think it's deeper than that. It's actually whether the sisters want to accept the reality that it is, like as the Sheikh said. I'm not student of knowledge or anything like that. I'm just quoting the Sheikh, that he said that the majority say that she is obliged. It's not so much so about the brothers helping, because the thing is, look, I mean, Mahdi's situation, when he was totally decontextualized, he looked like a villain. But when you put context into it, then you can understand, and it makes you think about yourself as well. Then I question myself.
I understand that the responsibility of the household, okay, to manage and take care of it and allow the household to blossom is ultimately my responsibility. That is for financial is my husband's responsibility. However, the question was, should men help with the housework? And the answer is yes. That is the ultimate answer. Because
you're going back on yourself now, Sister Amira.
We can never say that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not killing, and he helped. He helped with his wives. He had no issues with it. So,
Sister Amira, you've gone back on yourself now. We're regressing. We were making so much progress.
No, but the thing is, okay, Abu, there are actual people out here, women and men. This is why we have a huge divorce rate in the ummah today.
Why do you think we have a huge? Hold on, let's go there. Why do you think we have a huge divorce rate, Sister Amira?
Well, I do think there are women who are not doing what they have to do on their part, and I believe that there are men not doing what they're supposed to do.
So would you say that it's like 50-50? It's the 6 of one, 7 of the other?
I think so, and obviously,
I would have to politely disagree with you.
Initiating divorce.
I would have to tell you are wrong. Khalas, yani, I can't be patient anymore. You are wrong, Sister Amira. This is completely incorrect. 70 to 80% of all divorces.
That's what I said. I know it's mainly women that are initiating divorces.
And that rises to 90% amongst university-educated women, by the way. So, yani, I'm sorry, yani, you are wrong. I'm right again. You are wrong again, Sister Amira.
Well, to be fair, I think there is an issue with the men as well. To be honest, we have to be.
Tell me out.
You keep saying that women initiate divorce, but there's a reason probably why they also initiate divorce. It doesn't mean that they just doing it themselves. They're doing it because they push to do it. So I think you need to worry. You need to understand.
Let's go there. Most people are most people.
There's a reason.
Let's go there. Of course, there's a reason. طبعا there's a
lot
reason.
of women, they don't want to be divorced because it's so hard for them. They just do it because it's the last option. Trust me, or they don't have a choice.
Sister Fahima, do you know what the number one reason for divorces filed in America are? The number one quoted reason. It's called no-fault divorce. Do you know what no-fault divorce translates to? I didn't really have a problem with him, but I'm just like, I need a replacement, bruv. I'm a bit bored at this point. That's what no-fault divorce means.
Yeah,
it means that nobody is at fault.
It's not the Muslim women. If you're talking about statistics in the Muslim community, it is totally different. And there's no statistics.
These stats are not exclusive to Muslim or non-Muslim. They just look at registry marriages.
Yeah, I know how stats works, and trust me, it's not exactly as clear cut anyways.
Listen to what I'm saying, is that it's not a Muslim or a non-Muslim thing. It's just those who do registry marriages, and Muslims are doing registry marriages, non-Muslims do registry marriages.
Not majority of them, no. Because like I said, I deal with the households, and a lot of Muslim women, they don't want a divorce. In fact, they are staying in marriages that they even should be leaving, even if they're abused, because they know the consequences of what it means to be divorced. So when you all say these things, I think it's not really correct, and I didn't really jump on that either that time, because yes, women initiate, but they initiate as a very, very last resort.
No, well, okay, if you want to go down this rabbit hole
with you, because I do think
in
this generation people are less patient. People
have in this generation, definitely in long-term relationships, it's different. 100%. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I believe in this generation, yes, they are less patient and they will do it quicker.
Sister Fahima, let me point something out. You're a divorcee sister. This might be a bit touchy for you. That's why you're getting a bit prickly here. But let's move.
No. I get it. I'm not like as if I'm not healed. I just see sisters that are from this generation, which is right what Sister Amira said, that they will initiate quickly. Whereas with sisters that have been in long-term marriages for a long time and they've invested, like myself, then it's highly unlikely they will divorce.
Right. But now you're making I agree. But hold on. Well, actually, it depends. It depends. But now you're making a distinction.
Yeah.
You're making a distinction. Whereas we know from the hadith, and this is gonna be unsavory, especially towards Sister Amira, from one of the descriptions of the women from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, you can find this hadith in Bukhari, is yakfurun al-khayrat or yakfurun al-ashir, which is they are ungrateful towards their husbands. This is an actual description of women towards their husbands. This is a description of the Messenger of Allah. Are all women ungrateful? No, that's not what we're saying. We are simply saying, even Jordan Peterson talks about this, that women are more neurotic than men.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons for that is because they live in a more dangerous world than men do. The world is more dangerous for women than it is for men. So they are more neurotic as a result of that. And as to, I'm not trying to provide a scientific explanation to a hadith. However, I find it an interesting anecdote, shall we say. But this has to be tempered. If women don't temper this, they may well find themselves in a situation whereby they are extremely regretful for having initiated the divorce plug. Brother Gabriel mentioned on one of his podcasts that the sisters are asking in the Arab world, this is not here, in the Arab world, one of the mashayikh said to him, the sisters are asking for khul like they change their slippers.
Yeah.
Like they change their slippers.
Yeah.
It's become epidemic.
It is changing.
Media has a huge part to play in this, because everyone is going through social media. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, he doesn't give me that. Oh, that, there's all these couple goals, and when they look at their husband, he's not providing this couple goal lifestyle and things like that. And I get that. However, there is still issues there. Even with men, there are their own vices. I think men and women have their own vices. Social media is playing a huge part in it, and we need to come back to our roots, which is Islam and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
I'm gonna read this super chat to you. I want to see you two's reaction before we put a pin in this stream. The brother says, Bashar Khalil, Jazakallah khair for the $10 super chat. Never marry legally, have a prenup signed in case, and also require your wife give you full legal and physical custody of your kids to protect your rights Islamically. I'm not sure what you mean by that if you're living together, bro. That's how to be a halal bad boy. Okay, I have a question for you, Sister Amira. Have you done a registry marriage?
No.
Okay, so you don't have a registry marriage.
No.
Okay, interesting. You go on, Sister Fahima, you wanted to say something.
Inshallah, though, maybe.
I would strongly
you cut off.
I would strongly advise your husband not to do this, Yani.
Why?
Well, because why would I want the government?
It protects you. It protects the women. It protects the women in this country more. If there was a divorce, and at the end of the day, when you have a prenup in this country,
are you for or against registry marriage, Sister Fahima?
I don't know, to be honest. First time round, I did not have a sort of like English registrar marriage, but I married someone who was very reasonable and still is reasonable, so that would have made a difference for me. But I know of sisters that have struggled who didn't have that, and they were left on the street and they were treated poorly. So there's so many different views to see at that. If a man is just, the thing is, people don't follow the Islamic way, so sometimes they need to secure themselves.
Sister
That's the
Fahima,
problem.
One second. Hold on. This is now we're gonna have to have our first disagreement, and that is, first of all, this business of women they're left in the street and so on. I'm sure that some women have experienced this. I'm sure, but they are definitely a minority. All right, they're not the rule. Second of all, when you involve the government in your marriage voluntarily, you could make a strong case that you are choosing the man-made law as a preference to Allah's law. Why? Because Allah's law does not legislate that a woman get 50% of her husband's stuff upon divorce. There is a specific she must
the Sharia law is not even but the Sharia law, unfortunately, with what we have, whether it's in this country or in any other state, we have a problem where there's not real leadership. The imams are not necessarily fair. Do you know how many women are kept without getting a divorce, even in so many ways? And that's another area that is, even though the Islamic law is great, it's not upheld. It's not upheld.
What's that got to do with LeBron James's legacy?
Sorry?
What's that got to do with LeBron James's legacy?
No, I'm not saying that about the legacy. I'm just talking generally that, at the end of the day, I think women will go for that because they feel that, you know, they don't have, just like if you say you're having a prenup does not even
Well, I
stand.
get it. You know, I understand. I do get it. If I was a woman, it's quite a logical thing to do. Think about it.
But it depends. It depends who has also the assets. So maybe if the woman has the assets, she might not want to. My sister actually works in the top 500 company, right? So she might not want to get that. So it depends. It's not necessarily about the men or the women. It's who has the predominant assets and money.
But generally speaking,
It goes to the women.
Women are hypergamous, right? They marry across and up dominance hierarchies, and that typically means someone more wealthy. So
no, but the system is unfair towards men. And even if a man has the rights, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of cases that they're not actually getting their rights because it's through the English courts, which do actually favor the women more because they've just taken that general consensus. So I understand it all. I'm not saying that. I do see it from both sides.
If you had a daughter, would you encourage her to get a civil marriage, a registry marriage?
I really don't know, to be honest.
To be fair, for me anyway, I don't really care about the registry marriage like that. For me, my main thing is my nikah. I'm happy with that, you know. However, I would, if
you got a lot more to lose, because there's a lot of, like, for example, like I said, my sister, she works in the top 500 company and, you know, earning 6 figures, whatever. There's a lot more to lose if there was a problem there. So it depends. If you are of someone has.
Is your sister married? Is she married?
Yes.
Is she married to someone who earns more than her?
Probably a little less.
But okay, so they're around about the same, basically.
Yeah.
So then it's not really much to lose there. They're both, you know, they're the same as each other. And this is my point: is that even when women are high earners, they are not hanging around in relationships where their men are earning minimum wage. No, she's either going to be single or she's going to be with someone who's at her level at a minimum. That's a minimum.
Absolutely.
So the burden of risk is on the man when he gets a registry marriage. He's the one who's basically putting his neck on a noose and saying, "Please hang me." Because
but there's a lot of men that he earns like that, and they're actually happy to do that because when you're going into it, you think it's forever, and a lot of them might do that.
And that's because he's hamar. He is donkey. He is hamar. That's why he does that.
No, I don't think so.
Of course, he's hamar, and he wants to.
But my thing is, you know, when you have tawakkul in Allah and you live your life for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why are we so scared, you know, of
because things go wrong and all of that goes out of the window, Sister Amira. When things go divorced, all the religious things go out of the window. Even the most religious man does not follow the deen. Trust me.
Hold on. We have to be careful now. The religion teaches us to be practical. We have to have tawakkul on Allah. As Sister Amira said, and emotions can take over, but as Sister Amira said, you have to have tawakkul, but you also have to be practical as well. It's like me saying, I have tawakkul in Allah. If Allah has written it for me, the rizq is going to come down from the heavens, and I'm going
Prevention is better than cure.
And I'm going to make money. But I don't do anything to make that money. I have to do the action. So you have tawakkul, but you have to make the action as well. You with me? Anyway, go on.
I was going to say the prevention in that situation is if the divorce isn't so toxic and it isn't such a hateful situation, then usually people can go amicably. But when it isn't amicable and, you know, people are being bitter and, you know, salty and everything, then of course it can end in ways that you would be surprised that this person.
You can't tell though. That's the thing. You know, when you marry someone, you give them everything and they can totally turn. I'm quite blessed and I never had that experience, but I've seen, unfortunately, where they live together, given everything, but they totally switched, where they don't even give, you know, the mother the rights of the child or vice versa. So it gets so toxic. Where's the tawakkul there? Where is the Islam there when they are fighting each other literally like in a boxing ring? Okay, so unfortunately, human behavior is that. And when people say just have tawakkul, just do this, I'm sorry, but the reality, unfortunately, nowadays is that it's more and more where you have to take these precautions, not because you don't believe, you just got to be smarter because of what's happening in the world.
Again, Sister Film, where you have to tread real careful is if you are, because to this business of being careful. If this was something, it's like saying Islam.
I'm just saying generally, personally.
Hold on. It's like saying Islam didn't think of that.
I know.
It's just like saying Islam didn't think of that. Like, we need to be careful. Therefore, this man made law. They thought of something good. We need to be careful. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. You understand? Have tawakkul, tie your camel.
I just think it's another option. That's why we're staying here, because we are given those rights, and a lot of us are here because of those rights, and we are taken in that way. You go back home and it's not that way.
I would actually say, okay, yeah, the system here, we know it's a flawed system. This is a failed society. Nothing good comes from this society, to be honest with you. I would actually say the Sharia offers us more security than what this system does for the man and for
Yeah, but which country, even in the Islamic State, is actually performing the Sharia in a way where you can say it's fair, or you can say it's just, or you can say there's no corruption? No one can say that. That's why we are all here where we are to a certain extent, and we'll never go anywhere else besides the politics.
This conversation is going down now, like sort of like a Islamic jurisprudence route. This is out of my wheelhouse. It's not something I want to touch upon. But regardless, I appreciate both of you coming on, Sister Amira and Sister Fahima. Sister Amira, I appreciate you accepting, alhamdulillah, that I was right all along. But the stream appreciate that.
I'm happy that you accepted that you do help your wives, and that you are not this cruel person that's
and I'm secretly mopping the floor, bruv. I'm cleaning the dishes.
It's just your one-liners.
Barakallahu feekum. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you guys coming on, and both of you coming on as well, for that matter. Jazakumullah khair. And for the rest of you, like that video on your way out. Make sure you sub the channel as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.